Hello, welcome to Wargamer. I'm your host Rob. Today we're going to be doing painting. Well, depends who you are. Some people don't think it's painting because it's slap chopping. Some people think slap chopping isn't real painting. And some people think slap chopping is terrible. They hate the name and all those other things. But either way, I'll be sketching some values and then applying some see-through paint over the top to create a miniature, which I will use in my games. As you can see, I'm joined by the Twitch chat. Every Wednesday, we paint a miniature, and you can join us painting miniatures. Okay, so that's it. That's what we're doing. So no need for any more confusion. Here we go. So this is a miniature from Arch Villain Games. He's a Ice Etin. I think that's what he's kind of sold as. So he's an STL, so he's a 3D printed miniature, which I 3D printed on my 3D printer. So now I've said Slapchop and 3D printer, so I've lost probably 90% of the people who may like YouTube content. I also have not used an airbrush, so I think that's the last 10 people who might watch this video all gone, which is perfect. So as you can see, he's pre-slap chopped. So I've dry brushed him grey and white over a black undercoat. So here are some miniatures I did want to paint this week, so I'm going to paint these next week. So here are some trolls from the same release. So there you go, some ice trolls. Mainly I wanted to paint these because I'm going to do myself a Gloomspite Gitz army. So I've printed myself about 18 of these bad boys. Here you can see them. So there's 4 here. And then let me just show you a little second. So there's 4. There you go. Let's move this big boy out of the way. And then, I mean, they're very big. They're very, very big. There's another troll, and then here's the other troll as well. So I'm going to paint these up. So these are going to be my rock gut Troggoths. I've also painted up some, printed up, sorry, some miniatures to be my Fellwater Troggoths. So I'm doing a Trogg army, basically. I'm doing a Trogg army, and this is because there's been loads and loads of Age of Sigmar playtesters, all of whom have been building up their current Gloomspite Gitz army. So I thought, okay, let's try and do a Gloomspite Gitz army before the Gloomspite Gitz book comes out, and then hopefully it's good. So this guy is going to be a Troggboss. So it's like a slightly larger Trogg, and then my narrative... Hold on, I need to do the quotation marks. My narrative, is that this Etin is kind of like leading, maybe even against their will, the Troggs. Maybe he's using his magical powers, or their magical powers. There's 2 of them, isn't there? So they're using their magical powers to control the Troggs, basically. It's like, come here, Troggs, you must follow me, and they're like, I cast a spell on you, you must be controlled, etc. Yeah, so I'm narratively building Gitz now. Yeah, Gork and Mork in 1 mini. Oh, I like that. There could be Gork and that could be Mork. Or is that Mork and is that Gork? Who knows? He does look like a boss with an arcane tome and a master of magic. That's true. Anyway, so we're going to paint this up. And he's going to be the leader of my army. I actually printed out 2 of these. How much did it cost? It cost about like 5-6 quid in resin, but then obviously you got the other material costs, like how long the screen lasts, because I think it was like a 10-hour print or something, because this is quite a tall piece. You've got how long the isopropyl will last. You've got other consumables as well. So probably like what I always like to do is take the resin cost and then just apply the other consumables on top. So resin cost being about, I don't know, 5 or 6 quid. This is probably maybe 6 quid. This is probably going to go up to like £12. So that's not including the STL. I'm a Patreon of Archvillain, so that's about tenner. So all told, it's probably cost me about 20 quid for this miniature here. But obviously I can print multiple. Like, I can use that STL forever, etc., etc., etc. Rob, mate, I need some tips on how do you do the grey and white. Yours always look way better than mine. Okay, really simple. I don't use any other grey and white than light grey by Vallejo, and then Blanco Blanco 01 by Vallejo. So Blanco Blanco is the first paint made, 01. So there we go. And then I just make sure I use very clean brushes, and then I'll do another video where I paint one up, I guess. I don't really, yeah, I'll do one. Yeah, by Valley Joe. Yeah, Valley Joe. Did I say Vallejo? I'm so sorry. Vallejo. Bahil! I hate the conspiracy that it's actually called Vallejo and not actually Valley Joe, as we know. If I donate enough of my hard-earned monies, will you record Merry Slapmas and Choppy New Year? Maybe. Yeah, okay, I'll record a video where I do this bit as a section. Anyway, let's get on with slap chopping. We're going to do some brown. I'm not really certain. The thing is while these are definitely ice trolls, yeah, but I'm going to paint them as rock trolls because they're rock Troggoths. And this guy is definitely kind of like an ice Jotun. So I'm also going to be making it part of a Gloomspite Gitz army. So the miniature definitely reads as being this, or mainly when you like look at the 3D prints or the 3D kind of sales pitch, it's definitely like, you know, that's ice and other stuff. I'm going to have to like try and get that out of my head and be like, okay, he is like a Troggboss in a Gloomspite Gitz army. So I need to get Gloomspite Gitz colours and thoughts into my head a little bit. So that's going to be there. Rob, the V in Valley Joe is silent. That can't be correct. Yeah. It's pronounced Valley, throat clearing noise. Yeah. Isn't the L? So it's also... Is it just... Ayo? Is it Ayo? That's how you say it. Ayo. Funniest thing about people who have jumped on Slapchop for train clicks don't actually follow the path the monk set out. That's true. Yeah, I'm using this brush. A lot of people asking me last week about this brush. This is a Winsor & Newton 7. I haven't maintained the tip, and it's just quite broad here. I sometimes use also this brush, which I think might be Army Painter, but I don't really remember. It's all broken. It's quite thin. Sometimes I use this little brush because it's a stubby brush from Element Games. Sometimes I just use this Games Workshop brush. Yeah, I don't really have a favorite, if that helps. So I've just been thinking about slap chopping this Corn Blood Bowl team. Watched some videos, got all my paints out, etc. What's the garage of my mini? Spray them grey. Genuinely wonder how I function day to day. That is not correct. Yeah, sometimes I use my finger. Cygor Brown. We're going to use Cygor Brown for wood. Yeah, that's what we're going to use this for. I like this as a wood colour. So put it on, and then, as the Turkish monk said, there is nothing thick in life, yet only thin. They said you wouldn't just eat chickpeas, you would always turn that into hummus or humus. So thin your paint like you would turn a chickpea into a humus is what they taught me, and therefore I always have. So anyway, so we're going to use this. So yeah, as thin as possible in some ways. Like, that's always the trick. The thinner the better. I'm really looking forward to this mini, actually. I said last night, I was talking to the girlfriend, and I was just saying, oh no, I got to the hat. Okay. I was saying to the girlfriend last night, I was like, one of the scary things about once you've done the grey dry brush stage is it looks really good. That's the stage where it looks great. And then after that, you're like, now I'm going to fuck it up. You know, the paint fear. I don't know if anyone else gets the paint fear, which is one of the reasons I've always disliked painting, is because it's kind of like, okay, tomorrow you have to go and play music. You're like, I don't know how to play it. I don't know how to play an instrument. So, you know, fuck off. And that's always given me the fear. But the trick is, and I've said this last week, it's like a dojo, the Slapchop Dojo, every Wednesday. Just don't care about how it looks. There's loads of things you could be like, that could be better. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like things to look nice. I like things to be good. And if they don't, sometimes I'm like, well, if it's not going to be good, then what's the point? But there you go. That'll do. That's what we want to do with painting. I was just trying to explain painting to my partner, because sometimes she's a bit like, what the fuck? Painting? That sounds weird. Can't believe this weird mini game that you're into. She says, how many successes to fails do you get on average for the printer? And from that, have you ever done a video on your printer setup? Curlyhead King, I got a lot more successes from my printer when I just went online, spent, I'm going to say, about 4 or 5 hours reading what settings I should use, mixed with what resin I should use, and also like just other little bits which were just tips and tricks. And I think, and then calibrating my machine. So I think I went from about a 60% success rate on my printer to probably an 80 to 90% success rate on my printer. And the reason that it fails more often than not is just because I've been a bit lazy and I haven't like cleaned out I haven't just like shaken the resin or just some other little elements, which are like, it's almost always my fault, is what I'm going to say. Okay, so that's a bit too thin. So I'm late. Hello, fish. That brown looks so good. It's Cygor brown's really good. It's a very heavy brown versus like, so the wildwood is like a lot more. Yeah, it's a bit more oaky, this color, and the other one is some other wood. But not being a tree expert, I wouldn't be able to give you what other wood that wildwood one is. But it's a little bit. It's not as rich a mahogany. Yeah, it's not as rich a mahogany. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, and then remember, once you've got the settings on your printer, you just never change the settings on your printer. Like, you never change resin, because every resin that you need for your 3D print stuff is different, requires different settings, sometimes drastically different settings. So I just use the one resin on the one printer. Yeah, are there any wood experts in chat? This is more of a, I guess this is more of a hardwood, and the other one's more of a soft wood. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm not a wood-based expert. Anyone in the chat or in the YouTube comments who might be a wood-based expert, please do let me know. That'd be cool. Hey, look how good that looks, right? That looks great. Like, be wary with just taking over specs. You'll need to calibrate yourself since it's different every printer, resin conditions. That's also true. That's also true. And there are calibration programs. You just go through the process. 3D printing can definitely be one of those really scary things, but you just take it very slowly. Like, this is what I would say with 3D printing. You just get there, and then you just spend the first 2 days doing calibration and other stuff. You learn what your process is and what you need to do, and then after that, that's 90% of the work done. But if you just go in, cavalierly start pressing print, then you're going to have a load of fuck-ups, and you're going to make it worse for yourself in the long run. So I guess it's like everything else, preparedness is the key. There we go. I think that looks pretty nice. And maybe do some extra there. I might, with this miniature, depending on time today, I might do something I don't normally do, where I dry brush back over the top. I'd really like this miniature to look really good. He's a really big mini. He's pretty standout. So already we're going to have to do like a lot of work on him to make him look really cool. But yeah, I might go over and do some like little extra bits I don't normally do. I might paint in some block colors off the top as well here. But anyway, I'm going to go to a slightly smaller brush because that area didn't really require much. Like, this is one of those bits that you can see. Like here, I've done. You've definitely got the dark tones here, but not necessarily the lighter tones on the brown, which definitely can happen sometimes. Hold on, let me just get that bit. Like, it's got a very subtle kind of like highlight on it. So what I might do later is I might dry brush some white over the top, and then I might just apply a different contrast just to pick out more of a highlight, which sure isn't the Slapchop method, but whatever, who gives a shit. Also, if changing settings doesn't seem to change anything, it'll probably be the FEP. Temperature or humidity is also something. Yes. Also, a little trick that I personally use is I always, if I'm 3D printing stuff, on my 3D printer, I put an iPad or like, any sort of like tablet screen protector, a matte one, over the top of my print screen, so then if anything ever major fucks up, something, the FEP breaks or some resin leaks on it or whatever, then all I have to do is replace like a £2 or £3 iPad screen protector, and then don't have to go through the effort of doing anything else, which is like, yeah, Slapchop mindset. There's not a rule set. Slapchop is a mindset. Exactly. It's mainly because like getting armies like. I can't thank the Turkish monks enough for getting me to the place where I feel comfortable to paint, because I'm like looking down the barrel of like several armies or several units or whatever, And I like joyously. I've got all those Christmas events happening here at the arena. Over. Well, I've got loads of events you can check out on our Eventbrite, but we've got loads of events coming up. And then James, I don't know if you've seen, James is kind of like been a little bit out of Age of Sigmar at the minute, which is fine. I think, especially if you don't do it for work, like you do tend to like flip and change between which game system you prefer and which game system you don't prefer at the moment. And James is definitely on the kind of like I know he'll come back to Age of Sigmar, but he's not currently there, and that's super okay. Like I want him to, but he's like, oh, I'm going to bring some list, and I was like, I'm going to write you a really amazing Skaven list that's just loads of Scryer Acolytes and other stuff, and I'll print it because I've got some files to do it, and I'll also paint it for you if you want, which is like the prospect of, in 8 weeks' time, the idea that I could fully paint, I think to a great standard, some elements of a Skaven army, so my friend can play with it, so he feels a little bit better about a game system, is such an incredible feeling that I've got, and I can't thank the Turkish monks enough for giving me that kind of that emotional freedom to do that, right? Nighthaunt in one colour would look great, Slapchop, 100%. Tons of wheel things. No, I would actually probably do them a bunch of Scryer Acolytes. They're amazingly fun miniatures. They're very killy, but they're very fragile. And then you can do some really fun stuff with Scryer. I'll try and write the list for you, and then I'll post it into the Discord like later. But you can do some incredibly fun stuff, and it's super dumb. And like your very best chance is 3-2. But you'll be having loads of fun doing it and laughing maniacally. And that's definitely where James is as a player. James is like one of those guys that will try really hard to understand what he needs to do and then be like, right, now how do I have fun with it? Which I've always loved about the way he plays Warhammer. Because he's there to make sure he has fun and the person he's playing has fun, which I think is great. And we could 3D print it. You want to do you want to paint 70 Splinter Fang for me? Absolutely not. But you can slap chop those bad boys up super nice, I'm sure. Before seeing Storm SC, I just wouldn't have Sylvaneth anywhere near done painting as a chore. Painting is a chore for people. I'm enjoying painting more now because it's just easier. Like, you know. Okay, so I think we've done all of the wood that's on this mini. Let's just do a little check around and see if there's anything that really reads as wood. This drum that he's got kind of reads as wood, but I think we're going to do this in a different color, this drum, and then just kind of keep the thick hardwood as a different color. So let's pick out let's actually do wildwood so we can see what the difference is between the two on this mini. I think is really fun. Do you know what? Eventually I would absolutely love to have all of the different paint ranges. I'm really hoping the new Army Painter stuff ends up better than it did previously, because it didn't really read as contrast paint before, in my personal opinion. And I'm really hoping, because we did some tests live on stream, and you go watch them on YouTube, so they're all there. And I'm really hoping to try out the Vallejo color stuff. And I know there's some other paint ranges that have the similar effect, and there's also inks and other things. So I would really like to eventually get into all of that. Just so I've got because one of the things is you can definitely mix these colors, which is cool, but it's super nice to just know what the color is going to read like as soon as, as soon as you put it on the mini. So again, it just saves you time. You don't have to mix and do that other stuff. Valley Joe, he said it again. The new Valley Joe Express paints looks really good. Yeah, still no news on Valley Joe Express release. Okay, so now we're going to do the wildwood. And we'll see if see how differently this reads as a wood versus the other one, or maybe it's just an almost non-noticeable thing. So I don't know if you can see, but there are some holes on these minis where some of the supports just picked out a bit of resin. I haven't really got a way around that yet. I think just a lot of my printer setting might be even 0.1 of a second off. And eventually I'd like to get to the stage where I do better with the 3D print, so there's none of those support holes. But I also am pretty aggressive on just taking them off. There you go. You can see the difference between the two woods. That definitely that's definitely more washed out. And I could, if I wanted to, just apply a bit more pigment. So don't have it as thin down as possible, and then just get a little bit more of that brown on there. But I'm probably not going to, because it just reads nice and different versus the other wood. You know, you can see that comparison between. So Wildwood is one of those really weird ones where they say it's a wood paint, but I prefer Cygor Brown. I think it's like a darker wood. Be careful if you talk bad on speed paints. Oh no, I know. Say the line. What's the line, Valley Joe? As a shorthand, Chaos Knights Khorne chose Slanesh. Wait, as a shorthand, Chaos Knights as Khorne, chosen as Slanesh, and Warriors as Nurgle. I don't know, man. I'd probably go for chosen as Khorne as well, if I'm honest. Or Nurgle. They can stay around in a fight. They've got 3-up armor save. Like, I think Khorne, I would say Slanesh is in the situation where you want to yeet a thing. But if you're taking something that roadblocks people, then you've got a mid-board fighting army. So just buff them up. Give them Khorne, I would say. Dry bark is also super dark. Games Workshop like dark trees. That's also true. Dry bark is dark. That's a good shout. Okay, yeah. So there we go. We've got the drum. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to pick skin tone now. And that's one of those bits that's kind of like, if I was doing like an ice Jotun, he would definitely have like a you know, like a bluish skin tone. But I want to use him in a Gloomspite Gitz army, so I need to think more swamp skin. Now, there's a temptation to do green, because I absolutely adore green, specifically, what's it called? What colour is it called? Plaguebearer Flesh. Absolutely obsessed with Plaguebearer Flesh as a paint. But I'm going to avoid that because I use that all the time. And I quite like the fur to be orange. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking he could have kind of like a luscious brown fur, like a orange fur in his beard, which I thought would be quite cool. Isn't Rotgut skin blue? Rotgut skin is blue, but and then swamp, like river trolls is like green. So, and I'm just trying to get like a consistency between them all. Are there contrast paints you tried over Slapchop? Like Never Again? Yeah, it'll be the original purple from Games Workshop, whatever that was. That was pretty rubbish. Grey with maybe a wash after. I see the grey I'm going to use for some of the armor and the weapons, and that's what reads quite nicely is like a silver metallic, purple and orange, a purple skin tone. See, the one thing that I didn't like last week, so I walked away last week. So the first week I've done this for 3 weeks in a row now, right? The first thing I didn't like was like the first one I did, I really liked because I was trying for like realistic colors, and the second one because it was all magic, I was like, oh, blue skin, and I just didn't love it. I don't know, like I don't know why. I still can't get around doing like high magical colors on stuff. Like I'm like, it's wood, it's brown. Like I don't have that creativity. It's leather, it's brown. It's metal, it's metal. That's where I am in my head. Aquaskin, perfect in between. Oh, I like what you're all saying about doing purple because the Dankhold Troggboss is purple. That's kind of fun. Any advice for Slapchop very delicate minis? Worried some small bits might break off under the dry brush. What I tend to do is, as an example, this isn't. I'm trying to find a small mini. So I've dry brushed these incredibly small minis, and as you can see, that blade is quite small, quite fragile. What I do is I just put my finger behind it, and then I just dry brush, and then same on the other way, and then I dry brush, and then that stops that impact being quite so aggressive. Same thing with here. I'll just hold my finger behind it to support it, is what I tend to do. Well, that's what I generally tend to do with delicate minis. Is I just support it with my finger, just dry brush my finger in addition, and then just rack on. So that's pretty easy. And these are quite small minis. Like comparison is these are very small. These are 28mm scale, like what are they called? He-Man minis. He-Man minis. No problem. Well, I mean, I just dry brush a lot. I only dry brush minis now. This is all I do. I'm obsessed with it. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, I love it. It's great. Okay, purple you suggested. So that would mean Majos purple. That was the original purple that came out. Absolutely trash. Just throw that away if you've bought any. Is it Majos purple, the original purple? Yeah, that was the original one. Purple. So there is a new purple, isn't there? Luxicon purple is the new purple. Like I don't know. I quite like the idea of just doing regular skin. Am I so boring? Hey Robbie, you found a kill team to start getting into it and teaching new players. Hey bud, kill team looks really, really fun. But I just don't think I could really keep it in my headspace. Looks fun though. I like the idea of skirmish games, and I think it's very relatable. I really do think the future of probably a lot of miniature wargaming is less ranked fantasy battle stuff and more, or if it is ranked fantasy battle stuff, it's just very simple and easy to understand. I think the front loading that you have to do for miniature wargaming at the minute is just far too high. So, like far too high. Like especially when a lot of people want to swap between game systems, and so I think that they should lower it, and I feel like Kill Team should lead the way on that. I don't think it necessarily does. I mean, they're a weird giant bloke. I'm not a supporter of normal skin. That's fair. That's fair. Ooh, purple's bold. Purple's bold. I'm so non-brave on this front. Purple skin. What? And then he's going to have some orange. What are these little globules going to be though? Okay, purple skin. This is going to be scary. If you want purple glow, start with flesh tone like Dark Oath, and then just thin down purple a lot, especially looks and get some cool effects. Put in the darker areas. Ooh, Plague Bearer blue globules, interesting. Thin the purple, layer it over it with skin tone, so it's like a purple tinted. Interesting. Okay, everyone's saying thin purple over the top. I've not tried this. We have said that we wanted to do something a little bit more fun, so I'm going to go with you on this. I'm going to go with you. So we're going to do purple over the top and not as the primary colour. And instead, let's go find... We're obviously going to use Griff Charger in a bit, so let's get this bad boy colour out. And then we're going to find Gollum and Flesh, which is generally a pretty rubbish colour for colour. But we'll do Gollum and Flesh, and then... we're going to go over the top of it. Okay, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. I mean, we could use Dark Oath Flesh. That's pretty good. Hold on. Let me just find it. I really need to put all of these in order at some point with a paint rack. Has to be on my list. I love the Slapchop teachers. Any advice for the contrast paints? Best to thin or leave it nice and thick? Thin it. Thin it. You literally can't thin it enough. And then you thin it. You always thin it. And then, like, all the videos I've seen in line, they just bang it straight over. Literally not what the original video was. Thin it. And then afterwards, be like, okay, I'm going to add some more. You can always add more, you can't add less. So thin it. Like, 100% thin it. And I just use water. Like, I've never used anything else. Like, I'm sure there's some sort of, like, very strong chemical argument for why you use medium, but I just use water, man. Like, any old dirty water you got lying around. Yeah, spit will work if you want. Just anything. Okay, so we're going to do some Gollum and Flesh. Okay. I'm going to have to concentrate now because I'm going to have to try and avoid whatever those pustules are. So let's try and get around those where we can. Oh no, I'm concentrating way too much. This is awful. I like that this guy also can be painted in about 3 or 4 minutes. Like, if I wasn't trying super hard, this guy could be painted so fucking fast. Like, so fast. Hold on. So there's the difference between... I don't want this to dry too fast, so I'll try... if you saw what I was doing there, like this, I put on a little bit less thin paint on this side when I was painting it through, and immediately looked a lot thicker. So it's a tint. That's the point, right? It's not a paint, it's a tint. That's what we're really doing. Because if you just bang it on super thick, you're not letting... You might as well have not done the underbrushing anyway. Like, you might as well just have avoided that completely. And just been like, fucking YOLO. Okay. Oh, he's got such a paunch. He's such a hunky fella. He's had loads of dinner. The only reason thin with medium is the binder, so it stops coffee staining. If you're not getting coffee staining with water, then there's no need to use coffee. There's medium. Thank you very much, Wolfen Studios. There you go. I would, at some point soon, quite like to slap drop some GW miniatures or some plastics. because you do on the 3D prints, which is what this is, you do get those 3D prints. You do the kind of get the layer lines. They're still visible. I'm not going to hide away from that fact. I don't have like one of the current top end printers. I've got a 4K mono, so not a bad printer, but I think you can pick them up now for like £300 or £400. And there are definitely like 8K printers. So there are definitely printers out there right now which are like almost twice as good. So the detail and therefore the layer lines, I think, will be less stark. I mean, it doesn't overly bother me. But I think if you were like a high-end painter, it definitely, I think at this stage, would bother you and would be something to be conscious of. But again, I just think it's just the tool used, right? If you ended up with a better printer, you would end up with, I mean, at a distance, I mean, you can't see that. It's only when you do like very high-end or very close-up photography, you end up with that kind of like look. Difference between 4K and 8K is not massive. Thanks to Greedy. Necromunda minis are prime Slapchop material. 100% true. I would never obviously get into Necromunda, but they do look like cool. A good primer can really help with layer lines. Yeah, that's true as well. You can definitely use a different primer, but I really wanted to maintain as much of the detail as possible. I mean, I'm not at the end of the day too stressed about it because the miniatures price versus a GW print is 10%. It's about 10%. That's what the cost is. Producing an army via 3D prints versus from Games Workshop costs you about 10% what it does. So, I mean, that's fantastic. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that, in my personal opinion? Well, he's got a cool tattoo. Are we going to try and do the tattoo later, chat? Yes. We've got to push ourselves. That's the point of what we're doing here. So I've left some of them stone gobules, I guess. What's nice is knowing that pretty much fully done when you come to the paint. Once you've done this section, you're like, okay, I've just done the skin. There we go. I don't think that's too bad. That's pretty nice. It's pretty nice so far. Just some of it needs to dry. And it looks weird because you've got, yeah, there we go. I've added extra now, and you can kind of see it. Looks weird because I've left those, whatever those stone deposits are. What was the last Games Workshop mini you bought, Rob? Redacted. But you guys know what it is. Yeah, there were some gangers. That's all I'll say. Those are the last minis that I bought. But before the gangers, the last mini I bought was... That's a great question. I think that would have been a long time ago. Was it? Someone bought me some. Oh gosh, the Gene Stealer Cult stuff, because that stuff's fantastic. Absolutely huge fan of the Gene Stealer Cult stuff. But yeah, whenever like, and I've a couple of times I've said to myself like, look, Rob, you really want this mini? And then I always look, and £30 is the price of a bottle of resin, and so it's really tough to even buy a box at the moment of minis from G-Dubs. And I know that there's a really good conversation about the economy of like buying 3D sculpts, printing them yourself, and all that other stuff. But yeah, I just I couldn't really see myself buying some of those minis at the moment. Like this is kind of where I'm at. Although that said, like if there aren't like if there isn't a viable alternative, like there isn't currently really a viable alternative for an Iron Blaster. Little trick there. I just got some paint on an area I didn't want it. I just rubbed it off with my finger. That's actually been taught to me by a lot of heavy metal painters when I was working at Games Workshop. That's pretty much how they do it, as well as obviously painting. How they shouldn't paint. I don't know if anyone has listened to the I don't know if anyone has listened to Peachy on the Painting Phase podcast. So Peachy's former GW employee, and he just did a really cool interview where he talked about being a manager at GW, specifically someone being in charge of the army painters, and he just basically outright said that heavy metal painters don't use all GW products. Like it's not like a secret, but it's definitely true, and he just outright said it. you know, like for the public to hear, which I thought was good. Thought that was a good thing that he pointed out. You know, he's like, it's tough for the army painters to replicate some of the paint styles because they just don't paint that way. You know, still blows my mind the story you've told before. Games Workshop not wanting vehicles like civilian vehicles for a while. That would have stopped all the really cool Genius in the Cult stuff. It would have. That was Alan Merritt. And his kind of philosophy on what Games Workshop miniatures should be when I was there at the time. I don't know if they are or aren't using Games Workshop brushes. I can't attest or not attest to that, but I'm sure they're using all sorts of stuff that they're not meant to use. Which is really hard for, like, even Duncan. I don't think people give Duncan enough credit, actually, in some ways, if we're talking about painting. Because one of the things that Duncan had to do was he had to take like a Mortarion or an Archeon or a Games Workshop miniature, and then he had to be like, all right, boys, how did you paint this? And actually, it was a lady who painted Archeon, so I should be really conscious of that. Is her name Anya? She's fantastic, like, as a miniature painter. I can't remember her name. I think she's Swedish. But, you know, how did you paint this? And they're like, okay, we did this, and they're like, and he's then got to be like, okay, well, I can't actually paint like that at all because you didn't use any of this or that. So then, when he was doing his Archeon tutorial, he has to like basically repaint it and redesign how it was painted, if that makes sense. So from the ground up, like, and try to achieve a similar box art look. It's pretty impressive as a skill set, man. Like, you gotta like be fairly impressed with that as like a Anya Wettigan, maybe Legion of the Blind. I can't remember. It's definitely an Anya spelt like that. I couldn't tell you what her last name was, but she's a great artist, and she did the box art Archeon for Games Workshop. I've heard a word before that Windsor Newtons get used a lot by heavy metal folks. I'm sure they do. Like, am I right in thinking that just regular GW brushes are just Windsor and Newtons repackaged, or am I wrong on that? But I couldn't tell you. I very much doubt they do. They have airbrushes? Maybe they do. They've got like airbrush paints, so surely if they use the airbrush paints, then they're fine. He's looking very brown at the minute, isn't he? As a dude, like, he's looking very real, which is good. I like miniatures looking very real. I think that's a good feature, but a little bit boring. You don't want to be those people that have like a house that's all one neutral brown color, or, you know, like all neutral cream, and then their children are like fucking stimulation starved, and then they grow up and they're like, they just seem to hyperreact whenever they see colors and they see anything. I'm like, it's because you live in a beige house and everything is white or beige. Like, what do you want those kids to grow up? Like, those kids have never experienced color in their life. Yeah, it's what again. They all to paint with, but since I think they've gone to more games which are orthodox. Allegedly, Peach also told a story about how them using watered down PVA glue as a varnish in the past. That's interesting. Like, a mate of mine told me that he worked for GW in the 90s and didn't have their own ink, so used neat Ribena to shade cloaks. I mean, that's 90s stuff, right? Like, I'm sure back in the day there was nothing. There's loads of stuff available now. Loads. And the paint jobs from G-Dubs. Also, whenever we see new miniatures, like, for the first time, they were probably painted roughly 2 years ago. So, I mean, I don't know how long Contrast has been out as a paint. Oh my god, I'm not painting that remotely on stream. I don't know how long Games Workshop Contrast paints have been out, but I'm sure that's new tools that all sorts of different painters in the world have been using, as well as those artists. You know, there's just so much available now. Like, it's probably pretty daunting if you are a new hobbyist, and it's probably very easy to just buy into the GW paint range because you're just like, yep, cool. This is what I buy. This is what I use. You know, I've been in the hobby for a little bit now, and I'm just like, okay, I've never had a bad experience with Vallejo paints, Valley Joe paints, so I use those. But these contrast paints seem to work super nice, so I'm also going to use those. Like, but you have to buy it and find out from that experience, right? It's insane how many paints are available. Yeah, like crazy. Like, I don't know what it's. Does that mean 2 years we'll see some Slapchop box art? I mean, that's the dream, right? That's the fucking dream. I mean, we're not going to, but whatever. Okay. Up until a year or two ago, Citadel was all my local gaming stores had. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's also down to those the marketing from GW as well. They've done super hard. Their trade department will ring every local gaming store in the world and be like, stock our paints, you know, buy our paints. People buy our paints. They're so good at that. So yeah, it's I'm sure it's very hard for other paints, hobby paints out in the world to even get a look in some places, because you know, like it's they have become the standard. Like I do genuinely believe they have become the standard. Whether or not they should have become the standard or shouldn't become. Same with iPhone, right? Like an iPhone is a more expensive, like definitely worse version of insert Android phone here, product, but it's the most popular phone. I'm pretty certain in the world. You know, same with like Apple products. I was just yesterday in the coffee shop, rendering out some videos, and the dude in the coffee shop, who like just the guy that works there, was just like, "Oh, dude, I need a more powerful machine." I was like, "Do you have a Mac?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's because you paid more for worse." And that's pretty much Games Workshop, right? Their advertising has led the way, and whether or not they're good products or bad products or like whatever, the advertising has done its job, and now they're definitely the most used paints in the world. And you know, rightly or wrongly, like doesn't matter. It's just the facts right now. So there you go. Games Workshop may be the standard for miniatures games, but not for hobbyists. I think Valley Joe is still standard for hobbyists around the world. Yeah, I mean, I like it's. You would be hard pressed to convince me to go into another paint range other than Valley Joe now. They've got all the colours I could want. I like the dropper bottles. The paint's always consistent. When I've picked up a different colour, like the same colour a second or third time, it's always been the same. Just haven't had any problems with it. Like, and they've just got so many fucking colours. It's nuts. And then they've got loads of colours in different like formats as well. You know, like they've got air range paints. They've got, but I mean, like, give a fuck. Like, that's just my experience with painting so far. Maybe there's another paint out there that's just like the business. And I tried some of that. What is it called? The metal color stuff. Couldn't really get on with it. But then I'm probably just a bad painter that doesn't understand how to use it. It's that easy. I'm highly entertained by the small amount of content creators who passively aggressively say underpainting flash. Like, just imagine living that life. Imagine that's the life you live. This is a very brown mini at the minute, but we're going to try and pick out some purple is the idea, right? That's kind of what we're going to go for. I reckon we dry brush over the top. That's what I think we do. I think we're going to dry brush over the top of this in some white heat on the skin. Once we've done all the skin, and then we're going to put the purple tone in, like super light, really thin down. Like we're going to do a mega light dry brush on white is the idea. No, because we're just going to try and pick out the highlight, I think, and give it a tone. Yeah, we'll dry brush it first. Let the purple go into the recesses of wash. We're going to go over the top. I think we're going to do the reverse, actually. A big part of the Games Workshop paint spread is the go-to for the most new players. They want tutorials online, videos use Games Workshop stuff because they're the most... Like, same. Like, we were doing the insert redacted gang building yesterday, right? If someone had just been like, for £5, I will write you the rat list of your dreams, I'd have been like, go forth and multiply. Like, give me that right now. You know, like, it's a lot of work. What the fuck, that Slapchop Plus, I know. We're going to try and do a good job with this. That's the idea. Like, so I'm going to try do a good job on this mini. But let me paint all of his skin first, and then we'll see where we're at the time-wise. But I would really like to do a good job on this because it's going to be an actual army I use. It's going to be a good thing. So we'll try some little bits. Plus, the chat have challenged me. You already made me do bloody stripy trousers the other day. What a nightmare that was. Stripy trousers. And now people are tagging me in stripy trouser posts online. Stop it. I don't want any of your nonsense behaviour. Absolutely killer. But yeah, the tutorial thing is like, I can absolutely see why they're so popular. Because you're just like, if you're just like, I want that mini, they're like, here it is in grey, and they're like, okay, I want to paint it that way, and then off you go paint it. If the tutorial is just like, paint like this, use these paints, off you go. Absolute, like, I reckon that so many hobbyists, more hobbyists fit into that category than I want to paint it the way I want to paint it. Almost certain that the number is way higher for just people who are just like, I just want to paint exactly what it looks like because I think it looks cool, which is why I bought it. Yeah, people will eat up paint by numbers. I completely understand. Completely understand. There we go. So we're getting most of the skin done. Only some little bit. I mean, there's a lot of skin on this guy. It's like a huge portion. It's looking okay. It's looking okay. I definitely think it will get like a little bit better once we do the fur and we start picking out some big bold colours on the straps and stuff. He's not very swampy at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to try and go for that magic. Maybe we could feed in the magic purple that we put over the skin into this kind of like magic staff that we have going here, which will be fun. Imagine you're 13, you bought Archeon, you're watching the tutorial and being sold a ton of paint as a result, which makes them letting go of their star presenters a dumb move. It does make a dumb move. The GE tutorials got me into painting, just made some things scary feel a bit more simple and step by step. What are the GE tutorials? I don't know what GE stands for, sorry. But yeah, I think paint by numbers is very valid. Like, it's kind of why I'm doing this, like every week now, where I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to paint a model, and if someone wants to follow it, then they can just be like, cool. Like, I've got an ogre, I kind of know what colours he used. I can do this. So if I just do this every time, I think that, oh, there's loads of like tattoo stuff on his skin. God knows how I'm going to try and solve that. But those vids, Games Workshop video. Oh, okay, yeah. Those vids Duncan did for Games Workshop does himself now, where he walks through the entire model. I learned so much from those. I actually got full models armies painted to a nice level by following those rather than just slipping about on how to paint a sword or whatever. Yeah, I think those like technical paint tutorials are very, very important because they're more identifiable. But I think a paint by numbers is always going to just do big work. Always just going to do big work because it's just, you just follow along, and that's what we mainly want, right? Like if you're a hobbyist of any sort, like be you a painter or a gamer or whatever, ultimately everyone in the hobby pretty much has to paint their own minis. And so when you do have to paint your own minis, some of you are like, I just don't want to be a part of actually learning. I just want to play some games. So, yeah. Could you show the wet palette with the next paint? Sure. Just see how thin you... So this is what I'm doing right now. This is a slightly thinner paint than some of the woods that we had. This is Gullum and Flesh. I don't think Gullum and Flesh is a particularly good paint. I don't like it at all, really. I just think it's a poor man's Fyreslayer Flesh because it doesn't really have particularly thick coverage. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But that said, we know that we're going to do something over the top of this. So yeah, I think Gulliman's Flesh can probably go in the bin. Doesn't really have an identity, just a muddy brown. I much prefer the Fyreslayer Flesh as a tone, or Dark Oath Flesh. I think those two are the kind of winners from the Flesh ranges. Oh, look at that. I've done something here. I don't know what that is, but I've painted in... I don't know if you can see there. I've left some. That's the purple's going to pick that up really nicely. Let's do that. The great thing also about thinning it down is it just moves across the brush really easy. So it just paints faster. I don't know if you've ever... I know that's going to sound... I don't know what that's called. It's called the drag or something. But when you paint, and it just takes you a long time for the actual paint to drag across the mini, and you just have to do that less with this, which I think is great. Yeah, so I'm going to try and do a whole Trogg army with Slapchop over the next couple of weeks, just to kind of really identify how quick it can be. We are going to finish this one. Flow, yeah, it just flows faster. Just flows faster. It's quicker. So yeah, it just applies faster, and that might not seem like a big deal, but if you're doing a lot of minis, it definitely becomes a big deal in my opinion. Like over time. There we go. I'm just doing the ear there. I want to 3D print Magmadroth army of Pokemon. That's actually a great idea. That's a great idea. How would everyone feel if someone had like, you know, some Pokemon as Magmadroths? You know, a bunch of Charizards. How would everyone in the chat feel? How would people like who are watching this video back? How would you feel? Like, I think the idea that it's a fun army, like. So there you go. So you can see how thin that is. The difference between the skin, the face, and the body here is I definitely dry brush this quite heavily with the white here, but I also did a second couple of coats on the body down here. So if you can see now, I'm going to just do a little bit more of a coat, but I'm just going to do it on not necessarily all of the face. So just pick out like the areas. There you go. And already you've got some like different, because if you, oh, I've just got some on the tooth. Shit. It's okay. I'll have to pick that out anyway. The fun thing with thinning down the contrast is the second time, like if you just use the same color to go over the top, you've immediately done another tone. Like you've just made, like you're like, okay, he's just made that a little bit brighter now. That's not brighter, like a little bit darker with that same paint. So it's great for thinning it down, in my opinion, because then you just get to do more stuff. You get to do another little thing while you're slopping it on, and then like with the knuckles here, as an example, like knuckles are generally brighter than the thing, or darker. So like you get to choose, right? So let's just pick out the knuckles a little bit more. So let's pick out the knuckle, pick out the knuckle, pick out the knuckle, pick out the knuckle, and then just do the same the whole way through. Okay. And then just do the same here. And so it's just the same paint. I'm not having to dry it or do anything. And then when that dries, that'll just do the job, right? Like of just giving you something extra on the model that you've worked almost nothing to achieve. Like, I mean, what's that taken seconds? Whereas like, I mean, it's just like highlighting, right? There you go. And now I think the hand has got like a little bit more to it as a thing. But whatever. Like, you just don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. You just do what you like. That's what the cool bit about painting. Just AOS isn't a lot more chilled about theme converted armies. AOS crowd just seeing a lot more accepting of cool conversions. Yeah. A Pokemon Slapchop AOS vid is viral YouTube content. Can someone find... Let's do it. Someone find me a Charizard 3D sculpt or something, and we'll do it for next week. Like, I want to do the trolls, but I agree. We got some big viral energy in that. I thought, yeah, AOS is a lot more chilled about conversions and other stuff. Like, I think, like, the game system is generally more chilled. People are just like, let's have some fun. And there's been some gatekeeping around it. Like, when Age of Sigmar first started, GW themselves worked really hard to be like, you must paint the minis in the color scheme of the sub-faction. Like, they kept including that in the battle tomes and being like, otherwise it's not match play legal. But we just dogged on them, like, heavily. Like, we were... like fucking vocal, like absolutely no. There was a couple of tournaments where they instituted that policy, and then we fucking ripped them online, like, you know, like, and also whenever independent people fucking kowtow to the corpo, like, listen, if you love GW because you like they make a great game and miniatures that you love, like, fair play to you. Like, I understand. I absolutely love what they create. I love what they create. I really do. I think it's great. There's a load of creators who I love what they create, and therefore, by extension, I normally love what they do. I love who they are and like stuff. But ultimately, when TOs are like kowtowing, so that like everyone else is having a shitter time, bro, you need to look at your priorities. Like I get it up to a certain point, but after a certain point, but like, you're being some greedy fucks now. You need to calm down. Like, we're just gonna imagine you paint your army Hammers of Sigmar, but someone's like, no, you can't use it as you can't use it as one of the other sub factions. It's just embarrassing. Yeah, let Marine Eldar Nids paint however they want and play whichever chapter. Like it's cool when it's the chapter. Don't get me wrong. When the guy's like, yeah, they're all black and they're all goths. Yeah, and this is my culture, and like, this is how I'm like, that's awesome, bro. That's super cool. But like, if I paint in that color because I think that's the coolest looking color, and then the rules for that are the worst rules, absolutely don't get me involved in your silly behavior. I don't want any part of who and what you are. Today we painted this dragon from a Stormcaster Turtle army. All right, we need to find some sculpts. We need to find some sculpts, and then we'll do it. Let's absolutely. Okay, that's the kind of chat. Who was it that came up with that? Was it Gangster's Paradise? You're on my level, Gangster's Paradise, as you know you are. Okay, we're doing it. We're going to do the absolutely not register the fact that it's a Pokemon, and then just say that it's like some Stormdrake Guard or something. You have nailed that. Yeah. I don't know a single person who's painted their AdMech official colours. Exactly. But I'm sure there's some people who would push for that being a thing. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I'm creating a boogeyman that doesn't exist. That's very possible as well. That can happen a lot in the wargaming community. It happens a lot to the wargaming community, especially like tournament gamers, for example. Oh no, that winner. There's that one win at all cost guy. I'm like, who is that guy? Like, sure, I know a couple of dickheads, but I know most. I don't know most, but I know a lot of gamers. If I can know like several hundred gamers and one of them is a dickhead, I really don't think that guy is as prevalent as we think they are, or they're so stand out. So like, there's always like that created myth boogeyman, isn't there, in culture as well as in obviously wargaming. Okay, he's looking pretty nice. I think he's looking pretty sweet. Stormdrake Guard, Charizard army with Dragon Knights as a Draconith is the army you need. The vote on exactly this. The orange guys are the best colour scheme, but the worst rules. Interesting. Someday I'll print an Iron Jaws army, except it's all vampires on horses and zombie dragons. That's fun. That's super fun. I like the idea of doing a Death Knight army. Anyone who played Wrath of the Lich King, I like the idea of just doing like loads of Death Knights. Maybe use them as Slaves to Darkness. Maybe use them as like that. That would be really cool, you know, as a miniature range. Like that would be really fun. Just be Arthas, and then just do like the whole Arthas paint scheme. Just do the blue eyes, the whole thing. I want Werewolf Flesh Eater Courts. That's cool. I like that idea. That's really fun. Okay. So then we said we were going to dry brush over the top of this, which does mean I've got to go get the dry brush. So just give me a second, 1 second. Okay, so question from Wolfram Studios in the chat. Why do the dry brush over the top? Because what that does is that just picks out the highlight or the top levels on the miniature. And therefore we'll be able to retint them because that's what we're doing. We're basically just always tinting the white and the grey. So like that's what creates the tone, right? We create the white, we tint the white, and then that's brighter than the tint of the grey. And then we also have a tint in the black, and therefore that's what we're doing. So dry brush over the top is a super legit technique for doing some really fun stuff. I really like doing that. Like that's how I did my orcs. I actually painted my orc skin green, then I dry brush white over the top, and then I used the contrast as a wash. So it went into the recesses, which is like what a normal wash would do, but also picks out the highlight at the same time. So it just does highlighting without actually having to work hard to be someone who highlights miniatures, right? White paint onto a palette or a bit of wood or whatever. A dry brush. These are ones I got sent, so this is the one I'm using. If I had other ones, I would just use other ones. So why would you want to put the purple in the recesses? Would you want to put the people in the recesses? No, I think I would want to go for the top. You might be right. You might be right. Like, doing it this way, like this what I'm doing might be wrong. As in, like, doing the purple as the kind of like top layer. Could absolutely be right. I was thinking of putting purple on these stones now if we're doing this kind of purple idea, and then we're going to orange. So we're using the colour that we've got as a base colour. Because, I mean, it looks pretty natural right now, which is quite cool. So I guess what we're going to try and do is add a little bit of magic to the bad boy. I'm not really certain. Get some paint on the brush. Someone asked earlier about applying. Oh, my God, I just got loads of fucking ink on me. What an idiot. You get loads of... Get it on the side of the brush and then just fucking slop it on this bit of wood. A bit of wood's really cool for doing that. Test it on your finger. That way people know you're a cool dude. And then just go over the top. So we should just be picking out these top bit layers. Hopefully it's dry, so we're not just grabbing it. There you go. You can see the difference there and there, right? Would you like it to look like the skin on a great gnash tooth? That's a great question. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Let's find out what this does. That's the best thing. Slap chopping can be defined as fucking around and finding out. Okay? Which sometimes has got good results, finding out. I'm excited to see. Okay, well, we're going to do the dry brush over the top on the wood as well. Okay? Because doing it on the wood is something we definitely can do something good with. So there we go. We're just going to dry brush over the top of the wood as well. Because the skin one I'm not really certain about. But the wood I know is going to work. Okay? So that's going to be easy. So the wood one is fine. Because I'm like super conscious that the wood one is going to work. The skin, I'm a bit like, uh-oh, this could be a disaster. There we go. So, and it's just picking out all the top bits, right? Like, that's what it does. Yeah, fuck around and find chop. That's what it is. I'm still on my painting journey. Like, do you know what? I'm also on my gaming journey. Like, I think one of the really cool things that I've, like, I was talking to myself about this the other day, as I often do. Like, I really want to just keep learning, whether it be painting, but also gaming. I think gaming is one of those things where it's very easy to be like, yeah, I've solved it. But I don't think that's even remotely possible. I'd like to keep learning, growing, understanding about games. I've picked up some really great lessons just very recently from about how to be a better gamer, as in on an interpersonal level. Uh-oh, too heavy there. Okay, disaster. How to be a gamer on like an interpersonal level, and then also how to be a gamer as like as in how to make my games more enjoyable for myself and my opponent. And I learned a lot of that from like some of my friends, like Jacob Berry as an example, someone who I learned a lot of lessons from there, because he's just very good at that. And then how to be a better gamer on the tabletop. My friend Owen is always very well researched. My friend Ryan is also very well researched whenever they play games. And actually, that's something that's like really, really telling for me. Like that, I've been like, do you know what? You're just not putting that research in before you start playing the game. So be conscious of that. So yeah, I'm learning a lot from people around me, painting included. And I think that's great. That's one of the great things about this hobby, is that if you're willing to be wrong, if you're willing to fuck up, and just like, and everyone, like, if someone came to me and was like, Rob, I'm fucking up all my games, I don't know what the fuck to do, I'd be like, let's fucking talk about it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, what is it you're not trying to do? You know, someone's like, I'm not getting a lot of sports votes, or it's not really happening for me. Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I'll be like, let's fucking talk. Like, let's converse. Let's try and work it out. Because what is it you want to achieve? It's great to be wrong. It's fantastic. Because you're like, I mean, if you can go in and be perfect straight off the bat, then go in and be perfect straight off the bat, obviously. Like, we all want that for ourselves. But admitting that you can't and you make mistakes, it's fucking great. I don't think I'd ever want to solve some system completely. The exploration of ideas is one of the most fun things. Yeah, I agree with that. He's on his painting narrative journey. Simon! Meeting Simon was great. Like, I got to meet this like super fun, nice, amazing dude at an event. Like, he humbled the fuck out of me on the tabletop with his Tree Lord army, which was, in my opinion, a joke. I mean, I was also running a joke army, but that's besides the point. He was funny, fun. He had this great friend called Johnny. Like, just great people. Like, and the game we had was fab. Like, there's so much to learn as people right now. I'm just enjoying that journey for myself. God, that was rubbish. Sorry, chat. Sorry. Fucking hell. That's some nonsense behaviour. Okay. Yes, Lex. I love Lex. Lex is great. Learned a lot of life lessons from Lex as well. Lex is calm, chill. Like, doesn't get involved in shit doesn't need to get involved with. Just fucking lives his life. Love Lex. He's great. Okay. Depending on what you might need, but there's a new Vanguard. Oh, someone's answering some questions in the chat. Thanks, chat. Worst case is you dry brush the skin again and then just put the flash back over. No drama. Exactly. Worst case is this just doesn't work as well as we wanted it to. Gives a shit. Okay. So I should have taken a picture before I did the dry brush or something, with the, especially on the wood. So I think it's going to be hard to tell. Hold on, I really want to get in there, but there's still some contrast drying, so it's fucking changing the color of the white. Lex is going to the UK tournament tomorrow. It's hype as fuck. Lex is going to UK tournament tomorrow. That is correct. Lex is going to War in the Heartlands. That's great. Oh fuck, that was way too wet. Shit. Come on. Yes, let's go. Team Lit. Team Lit. There's several of Team Lit in the chat. One of the most competitive wargaming groups in the world at the moment. There we go. I finally got that white on there, which is good. All right, so we've done the wood. Let's just get in here for a bit of the wood. Like, no one really cares about the inside of this shield. Let's just fucking just bang it on. Let's not really try too hard. There we go. Have I covered all that? I've done the skin. I think I've done the tootsies. Did I do the tootsies? Yeah, okay. In that knee. Get in that knee. Come on, Rob. There we go. Okay. Right, we're good. We're back in the room. Okay, so before we do the skin, which I'm a bit nervous about, let's just do the wood. We did that kind of dark brown, right? Let's do something, let's add like a different color to it and see how that mixes in. So we're going to do snakebite leather. That's kind of my guess. Now, that might be wrong, but I'm going to try it because it's got like more of like a yellow twinge to it. And I think that'll be really fun to see what actually fucking happens. So, in classic Slapchop fashion, let's fuck around and find out, chat. But first I have to find snakebite leather, which might take me 7 to 8 weeks. I've got 32 pots of Nasdaq yellow. I probably should put like the common colours I use. I bet that's what proper painters do. They do like common colours that they use all the time. I mean, Argos Dunes would also do the job, but I want snakebite because it's very yellow. Come on, snakebite. Come on. Don't break my heart. Right, you're not that colour. Not that colour. Oh my god, I've got like 4 pots of Nasdaq yellow. I love that way too much. That is far too popular a colour in my household. I've got 2 Argos Dunes. God, I'm rich. Hey, is this the bad Rob? Orcs, this is not the bad Rob. This is the good Rob. Oh no, it's really upset me in a minute actually reading like social media posts because I'm just like, they're like, Rob did this, and I'm like, what have I done? Oh my god, I don't even have snakebite leather. I must have it. I had it last week. Where is it? Has it been stolen by my painter aficionado friend? Has she nicked it? Come on. If she's nicked my snakebite leather, I'll be livid. So I'll do. Rob, would it be best to do the purple first because you might need to dry brush white again? Yes. I'm just really scared, is all I'm going to say, about doing the purple. All right. Okay. We're going to do Luxicon purple. Right? Love the Necromancer. What? I'm glad you enjoyed the redacted show. I laughed when you changed your Twitter handle. It's funny. It's funny. Right, someone's nicked my snakebite leather, so it's all over. Painting tutorial. These are not tutorials. That's my favourite bit about what we're doing. Oh yes, victory! Yes. Some people like I do that. I don't know if anyone else does this thing. But I do that thing where at the end of the day you find 3 things that you enjoy, and at the end of the day you tell yourself those things things that you enjoy. I started doing it years ago after watching like a TED Talk thing. I find it incredibly useful for my mental health. It's just one of those things that's really good. And today that's one of my 3 things. Yeah, one of my 3 things is I found that snakebite leather when I wanted to while I was streaming. Absolutely excellent stuff. Okay, right, so the snakebite leather, so as you can, there we go, I'll put it on stream so you can see. There's snakebite leather, but it's a little bit more, so that was the original colour that we used for the wood, and then this is the snakebite leather colour. And let's just drop it over, and then see how that looks. Yeah, so I've thinned it down. There you go, and I've just sloshed it on. There. And I'm hoping, should I have thinned it down more? That's the real question. I want some of that original wood colour to come through. Let's see. Let's just see what happens. I reckon it will. Let's find out. You're only gonna find. I've only gonna find my snakebite leather. Okay. Let's find out if this might be too different a color tone. But I'm hoping the brown comes through, because the brown was very relevant. Let's find out. We'll leave that for the minute and we'll come back. Because like stated, we might need to dry brush it anyway. Oh, come on, brown. Come on. Be translucent like I want you to be. I think I can see that happening. Like it does look yellow, but I think the brown's going to come through, and once that colour's come off, I think it's going to happen for us, which is going to be fun. Maybe I needed to make it a little bit thinner. Maybe. Okay. Either way, let's do the purple, and we're going to do the purple super thin. Okay. We're going to do the purple super thin. So Luxicon purple. All right. Time to dabble in some Luxicon purple. Oh no. Loads of water. Absolutely loads of water. Okay. Loads of that. All right, let's mix it up. What do you use for the metal? Yeah, either Griff Charger Grey or Space Wolf Blue or Grey, or whatever colour that is. Okay. Let's find out. Let's find out if this purple was a great idea. Okay. This is going to be interesting. You ready to get to the find out stage of fucking around, chat? Here we go. Oh boy. Should we just do the face? Should I just go all the way in? Okay, I'm going to go super thin. I'm trying to show you how thin I'm going, like very thin. Oh, bro, it's very purple. Then I guess he was always meant to be purple, right? That's kind of the idea. Can you see? It's actually quite nice. I think it's pretty legit. I just think it's the fact that I previously... Oh, yeah, that's pretty fun. What do we think? Let's find out. That's cool. Yeah. Bro, that looks dope. Thanks. Well, I mean, it's all of your suggestion. That wasn't what I was going to go for. So let's continue on and just see how the rest of it looks. That was all your suggestion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great work, chat. Absolutely stonks. And then we're going to go over the stones as well now. So the stones are just going to be complete purple. Oh, fantastic stuff. Really thin layer. Like, super fucking thin. Like, very, very watered down. Absolutely. Loads of water. Really thinned. Well done, chat. That's all on you. This is like... It's like groupthink painting. Oh, brilliant. This looks amazing. It's not what I was expecting. I was like, when I first put that first paint on, I was like, no, you fucked it, Rob. But it's kind of come back. Hive Mind Slapchop. That's the true way to paint. I like that, like, especially if I do it like mega thin. Oh, yeah, that looks great. Some elements maybe need a bit more. Dudes. So that's kind of half. I'm trying. Let me just make this a bit darker for you. Hold on. What am I on? Can I change this? Yeah, let's do that. There we go. That's a bit better, so you can see the contrast a bit more. Yindaka, what did Yindaka say? What a gorgeous thing, and the model too. Oh yes, thanks, just Scribo, what up? Do FDM printers make decent minis, or do I need to go SLA resin? You need to get a resin. Yes, 100%. You can't do minis on FDM printers. I would never try. You can do things like, I did some barrels the other day, and I was pretty impressed with the barrels. I was like, fuck. Maybe if you got a good enough FDM printer. Oh, it's way too thick. Rob, save it. Save the day. Okay, there we go. For detail minis, you should totally go resin. 100%. 100%. There's absolutely no doubt that it's resin all the way on that front. Yeah, whoever suggested that we go through this process has nailed this. So well done, chat. You guys are geniuses, as always. Yeah. Rob, that would look sick on an FEC army. Oh, nice. Nice suggestion. Flesh eater quartz. Yeah, that'd be good. You can definitely see the brown through the purple. That looks awesome. That looks super good. You can see the brown through the, like, really cool. It looks like he's almost like, you know, you could almost see doing that also with like Nurgle or something, especially on like Nurgle Mortals. That's super cool. All right. Okay, you fucking smashed this, chat. Well done. Well done on being brilliant. Look, he's got some Illidan scars from World of Warcraft. Yeah, like up here, he's got some like Illidan tattoos and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Illidan's cool, right? I was watching some World of Warcraft lore stuff yesterday. I would really like to get into making lore videos for Age of Sigmar. And I'm going to say something now, and I hope no one takes this out of context. The lore videos that exist for Age of Sigmar aren't exactly fucking exciting. That's what I'm going to say. I get being specific, but I'm like, yo, I want something that like chills my bones, gives me some fucking. I want some big energy on my lore videos. The video I was watching was big energy lore videos, like, and I get like chill lore videos are chill, but I want big energy lore videos, right? I want like lots of hype. I want people to be excited about whatever it is, and not well researched. Well, yeah, I mean that's the major issue, I guess. But I just don't have enough time. You can't be the guy that does all the stuff, and that's very greedy of me to think that I could be. Like, I've got Objective Zone this weekend. I mean, like, doing painting is like is one of those, like, I feel very lucky, and I'm really hoping that these are entertaining enough that I can continue to do them, and people like tuning in, and people like subscribing, like to doing this stuff that I do, because hopefully people are like, yeah, this is worthwhile. Because like if it isn't, like then I'm just being self-aggrandizing, and I need to make stuff that people want to watch. So Objective Zone is something I think that's really cool. So that's the Sundays where we do the gaming stuff. I think that's kind of a little bit of the future of the content I make. I think that's really excellent. And doing reviews for rules and stuff is stuff that people really like. So it's stuff I'll do in the future. I would love if all lore vids had the energy of Halo's faction focus intros. Yeah. Like discussing lore as a group would be cool. That could be fun. That could be fun. I definitely. Oh man, the purple was a great suggestion by Overmade It. It actually looks fucking great. There you go. And you can definitely see the brown. So now we've got like two tones on our ogre, like a couple of different like, not ogre, Etin. And then he fits in with the trolls. Dudes, this looks great. Obviously, a whole extra step, which is not the Slapchop methodology. But the Slapchop methodology is also fucking around and find out. So I'm very happy with that. Look at the difference on the back between the two sides. That looks great, right? I should sound mental, but did you flash the wizard off the top of the Glockin a few Wednesdays ago? Honkai, no, 100% I did. 100%. For some reason, I have two Glockins. So obviously, I've got a Glockin, and then I took all the Glockin parts into pieces. And then this is from like Warhammer Fantasy Battle days, I think, because I had a big Nurgle army. Absolutely loved the army at that point. There you go. I think this is a bit of a crime. I put way too much fucking contrast on here, and I've just like wasted loads of contrast paint there, so I feel a bit bad about that. So if you are paying attention to that, my apologies. He looks great. This has been a great decision. I need some more Luxicon purple. I'm painting him too, and I never realised how good it looks. Girk steals the spotlight of that model. Oh, yeah, specifically, so what Honk's talking about in the chat, he's talking about, where is he? I've just got him right here somewhere. I did have him, like literally in my hand. Oh, there. He's talking about this guy. Like, so this is the guy off the top of the Glockin, and he's just an outrageous Chaos Sorcerer model. Like, absolutely all of those. He's got an extra arm. He's got this like brazier full of like fire and pus and stuff. Like, it's just great. And then the other model, the kind of like warrior dude that's on top, is also just some completely overwrought and fantastic. These are just models I want to paint, sort of thing. And they look great. So good. That's off the top of the Glockin model, though. And I guess if you're one of those people who's like, yep, money's not a problem to me, like that's something I really want to do, like the Glockin can definitely become like some monster. You know, you could use him as a great unclean one as an example, and then you could have those two if you wanted. Be like a Chaos Warrior, like a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, or you know, you could have him as a Rotbringer Coven Sorcerer. Any of those things. Let me just get this. I think I haven't thinned this down enough now, so that's a kind of lesson learned there just from that section. I went a bit heavy with the purple, so it's got to keep. This has got to be super fucking thin, super thin for this to work out. Kind of how it's worked out so far. Yeah, really thin. Hello, Death by Dan. I learned the Glockin the other day. Didn't realise it was 3 dudes. Yeah, it's 3 brothers. The kin of Glot, which is really cool. And they all got different blessings from Nurgle. Yeah, I really like the Glockin lore. I think it's really fun. It's very cool with the name as well. Like the Glotkin. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Nurgle's just got a lot to it, right? Like Nurgle just seems very easy to write narratively. I can completely understand why they super struggle with like Tzeentch and Slaanesh. The bit that really upsets me, like at the moment, and I don't want to be like things upset me, like kind of in mind space. But ogres, man, it's only because the ogre release is currently like on pre-order for Age of Sigmar. But ogres are just amazing narratively. And it's fucking crazy that they don't have a named character. Like, that's crazy they don't have a named character. It's crazy they don't have... Like, it's crazy. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Like, it's weird that they do not have more put into them. And it's also lazy. Because one of the things that I will be very anti-Games Workshop about, especially recently, is... They create this wonderful IP. Fair play. Absolutely fair play. You've got this wonderful, amazing IP. Yeah, in loads of different ways. And sure, some of it is definitely stolen IP. You know, they're like, have you ever thought about bugs in space? Although I think actually they came up with it first. But like, I don't know, pick one of the things that they've stolen. Like Attack of the Clones. Yeah, or something. Something that they've stolen, whatever. Right? They popularized it, which is great. Great for them. Yeah, like, proud of them for popularizing it. And then they just sit on it. They just don't do anything with it. Like, they're on Skaven. And they're like, no new Skaven minis. The lore. Like, they're just, like, push it forward. It's your IP. You're the one who's like, this is my IP. I'm about to send some lawyers around your house. And I'm like, well, do something with it. Do something awesome with this great stuff that we like that you made. It's just a fucking weird flex. What about adding some more skin tone to his belly? The purple. Yeah, maybe. I kind of agree with you there. I think I quite like the fact that it's a bit off there on the belly. I don't know why. Is it lacking sculpts in these old lines due to sheer amount of old stock? I just don't think that they have that level of stock. They sold out of almost everything at some points. I just... I just don't. I don't think it's like a stock issue. I just think, you know, they just have one idea at a time, and they're just very, very lazy with it. They're just like, cool. This is what you're gonna. You know, they're not having to compete. Whereas if someone out there is like, right, here's all these Ratmen range, all this awesome stuff with Ratmen, then, you know, it's, or ogres. You know, here's all this fun new additional ogre stuff. There's like, here's an ogre skyboat like you get with the dwarfs. Here is a I don't know, like a crab, because this is one of the sculpts that I have. You know, here are ogres riding Komodo dragons. Here's an ogre wizard who's a fire belly atop a raging inferno spell or something. You know, all that silly stuff. You just do something with it instead of like, no, one new sculpt and it's a hunter, and you're like, bro, like, this is just shit. And that's kind of what, like, I'm disappointed about at the minute, is that the game is so exciting, but the actual range sometimes can really let you down. Gotta say, chat, you have absolutely smashed that. He looks amazing, right? Like, great work, chat. And I don't know how you feel about the staff. We've definitely got tones of yellow on the staff. So that's our snake bite. Now it's dried off, but the brown is still coming through. So that just looks even better, in my opinion. Like, so I guess this is double Slapchop. Is that what we're calling it? Double Slapchop is what we could call it. I think they missed the opportunity to redo Beastman. Yeah, they did. You glazed. I did. But we're going to call it double Slapchop, Dadbod, because that will upset people. And that is what we're here for at this point in our lives. All right, let's do the rest of the wood then in double Slapchop. Double Slapchop. Oh, yeah, the chop top. Double Slapchop. This is snakebite leather, isn't it? Yeah, let's thin this down. Slapchop squared. That also works. It's just tinting, isn't it? That's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be. It's just tinting. But just recognizing that's what it is, you should be able to do loads more with it. I'm really looking forward to my journey doing this stuff, man. Like, whether I ever get like super good at it, I don't really care. Oh wait, that's the wrong wood, Rob. No. Okay, well that was kind of fun. That looked cool. I just rubbed it with my finger. Okay, so that's now that technique. Well done. I've just dabbed it on, and then I've just slopped it with my finger. So congratulations. That's not what I wanted for that. I might go over that, but there we go. I'm meant to be doing the other woods, which is this wood. There we go. Because that was the other wood, wasn't it? The wildwood wood. I might just throw some wildwood over the top and just call it done. There we go. These ropes are going to be a nightmare, because ropes are normally like skeleton horde, but then there's also a load of like teeth and fangs. So that's going to have to also be skeleton horde. So I'm going to have to like mix between the two, which is going to be a bit much. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. That looks great. There's like a lot to that now, right? As a shield. Like, there's a lot of color on there. Like that two-tone is just lovely. Here we go, double Slapchop. Is this just sprayed black and dry brush with contrast paints? That is correct, Death by Dan. I sometimes feel they're locked into the current faction design aesthetic. I've seen some amazing looking Ogre STLs, but if they change the look for one unit, I don't. But like, they've barely explored it. Like, gut plates, and I would agree with you, other than I think that they've barely explored the current faction look. They've barely explored it. Like, gut plates is very Games Workshop. Sure, there are ogres, but like gut plates is like a very Games Workshop thing. Like, it's their thing. You know, like big gut plates and all that other stuff. Like, they've definitely. Oh, I didn't even paint this bit. Whoops, whoops. Yeah, they've definitely got some room to grow, in my opinion. Okay, he's looking pretty sweet. I'm gonna have to just move that to the side to put him down. There we go. Right. We need to start picking out some other colours. We're going to do orange. We're going to do his fur next. I think that's going to be the plan. But I do need to paint that last bit that I forgot to paint. Wildwood. Would you Slapchop video for Warhammer Plus if it meant you got full creative control over AOS? I wouldn't want I wouldn't want creative control over AOS. something important to point out. I'd like to definitely like give some input. I'd be like, hey dudes, I think you could do more with terrain rules. Grand strats annoy me. It would be cool if you could not copy paste some stuff, but I understand that you're probably a design team of 2. And you haven't had any resources, and you're probably very underpaid for the value that you bring to the company, because middle management are taking your labour and using it for themselves. And so just take the day off, have a nice time, don't stress too much. I'll cover your back, off you go, sort of thing. Would probably be where I'd end up if they put me in charge, and then that obviously isn't something that would be good. I think you probably would do that anyway, but they still got to focus on the money. Yeah, they do. Like, but I like being outside here with you. I like being someone like with you. Oh my god, the shield looks great. I'm really happy with that. There's loads of different colours in there now. That's fun. Happy, happy, happy. Okay. Right. Let's do the beard. That's what we talked about doing the beards. The beard. And we're going to do orange. I've got loads of contrast on my wet palette now, so I'm going to just yeet this bit of paper off and get some fresh paper. That is the one thing I would say that I end up using. Everyone's like, you're not meant to use a wet palette? And I was like, you're not meant to fucking talk to me? Like, fuck off. Just, it's nice somewhere to put your paints. So leave me alone. Yes, the Mizia. Hi, how you doing, gorgeous? Right, okay, so we're going to use this colour. Griffhound Orange. Griffhound Orange. So that's going to be our beard colour. So we need a smaller paintbrush for this. Smaller paintbrush. We got this. Okay, so a bit of orange. There you go. You can see it in the picture. If you want, maybe a bit more. Get some powder. Thin it all down. There we go. Thin, 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 thin. I like it. Like, yes. What is it? I had an interview for AOS narrative writer a few years ago. Pay was ridiculously low, and they expect you to spaff out 2,000 words a day. Sounded absolutely joyless. It does sound joyless. Like, at the end of the day, the labour that goes into the products that we use is much less than the management that gets stuck on top of that labour, and that's a bit embarrassing for them. And at the end of the day, you're creatives, and the company is a publicly owned company, and therefore it is a company of theft. They should all be like what? Not they're not. They should. It should be stakeholder, not shareholder. Shareholder companies are always criminal. Someone's gonna be like, no, it's not true. Well, that's why society's fucked. There we go. And the orange looks good. Nice. Can I get it super thin? Okay, so get some super thin and just try to work that in a little bit around the edges here. Just so. There we go. Just try and make that make sense. Wet palettes don't work for my style of painting. I just use my desk or straight from the pot. Let's go! Yes, that's what I like to hear. That's what I'm about, my friend. I'm definitely going to go over this orange. I've gone super thin, like I always do, and that's worked really nicely. That looks fine. But I would like it to be more orange, so like on the top here. So I'm definitely just going to just blob some more on because I want more of that. You can just do like there you go, a second layer if you want, but I want it to be quite a rich, luscious orange. He looks great, right? Any ideas for Chaos Spawn proxies? The actual sculpts I'm not a fan of are overpriced in my opinion. Chaos Spawn proxies, what, from Games Workshop or 3D prints? There's literally a million. From Games Workshop, Chaos Spawns. I mean, they're all very expensive for Games Workshop, so probably none of them. You could maybe use like, I was trying to think, what's like a unit of like 3 or something that they do from GW that's like, could be a Chaos Spawn. I mean, I guess it depends on the game system though, right? I don't know. Accursed, yeah, Chaos, new 40k cultist mutant things. Oh yeah, they're accursed. Dragon Tappers has 3 different giant hands. That would be cool as Chaos Spawn. Oh, I like that idea. Yeah, I would just Etsy some. I would just Etsy some weird sculpts and just do all sorts of nonsense. I think that would be very funny. Like, very, very funny. Dude, this looks great. I think we're smashing this, personally. The orange has really brought the miniature to life, I think. So we start to actually get some colours on this bad boy. Yeah, let's go. Love that. He definitely needs some more orange in his beard. His beard's a bit thinned out and washed out. Which is a fair criticism of Slapchop paint jobs. They end up a little bit like washed out in some ways. But I like that. Like, because it's definitely like a choice. I think that looks nice. I'm super happy with the staff. I'm super happy with the shield right now. So I think he's looking good. What is his model meant to be? I'm going to use him as a Troggboss in a Gloomspite Gitz army. The model is from Archvillain Games, who is a 3D sculptor that you can find on Patreon and my mini factory, and I'm sure other places as well. Yeah, big rotten hands for Beast and Nurgle would be really cool. Like, I think that would be really fun. All right, so we're done with. I think we're done with all the hair. That's all the hair. Time to just pick a leather color. I think we're going to go for Argos Dunes because he's just got a shit ton of random leather, hasn't he? It doesn't look like it's cloth, although this kind of looks like burlap. That's metal. I think we're just going to pick a leather color and just yeet that all over the model. Because he's just got a lot of it. Yeah, that burlap, this is like a burlap colour, burlap material. This is burlap, and this is burlap. And then the other bits are definitely, this is leather. So maybe I should differentiate between the two, otherwise it will just be a bit much. So then the burlap colour, you would normally use like skeleton horde or something like that. But then we're going to use that for a lot of stuff. So I think maybe... Oh, the tip of the beard. Thanks. Completely missed that. Lol. This is from Archvillain's like Frost something range. I can't remember what it was. Frost something. What about some kind of green? Yeah, this is where we're at the stage where it's like, where if I wasn't the sort of painter who I am, or wasn't, I'm like, it's leather, therefore it's brown. Whereas other people would start going a bit crazy, and they would use like, well, the color that we're using on all of the leather is actually green because they've like dyed it or something, right? Don't want to turn him into a clown. Yeah. Black is neutral. Yeah, I could do some black, definitely. I could do the burlap as like a black color. That would be quite cool. Again, don't forget he's meant to be like a Gloomspite Gitz dude. So I think he's already doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with him as a Troggboss. I mean, the Troggboss is comfortably one of the worst rules things in AOS. So he's also got these like armor bits as well. So he's got this armor here and these kind of like, but again, that looks like kind of like leather. Almost tempted to have the leather be red. You know, a kind of like dark burgundy or something could be quite fun. So squig leather, right? So red. That's pretty cool. We could use the leather could be red because it's squig, and then when we eventually put squigs into the army, we could use the same red for the... This guy is a skinned squigs. Is this what you're saying? That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold. Red. Interesting. Grab a colour wheel and then theory this mofo. I'm never going to do that. Okay, red. What colour would we use for squigs? Blood Angels red or Flesh Terror red? Maybe Blood Angels red. It's brighter. I think Flesh Terrors is too dark, in my opinion. And then we would not do Doomfire magenta because that ends up as a pink. Burgundy's too dark. And then Bile red. Bile red maybe for squigs, right? Like those are the like Maybe the colours bar red if you've got it. Yeah, bar red is right here. Flesh Terrors is too close to purple. Yeah. Rob's colour wheel is a magic 8 ball. Bar red is very strong and very powerful. I agree. It's squig leather, right? Right, we could thin it down. I feel like Blood Angels Red is the safer choice. Oh, like, this is where I'm at. I'm like, we've done pretty good up till here. Let's just leave it. Just stop. The panic is so real. But we got this. I'd go darker, dried, dead squig. What, for Blood Angels Red? Okay. I quite like the idea, yeah, because it's like this would be Bar Red would be our alive squig, and then Blood Angels Red. Mix them is an idea. We could always fuck the accent color. Let's try it. Let's do it. We're gonna do our leather. It's going to be Blood Angels Red because it's going to be squig color. Squig color. Interesting. Okay, I kind of like the idea. So this is what it's going to look on the palette. Just so you know, that's what color we're going to throw onto the mini. Dark is good. I think you want the purple skin to be the highlight. Okay. Right, well, here we go. Where's the leather that we're going to pick? This is like a burlap color. So this definitely isn't leather. This isn't leather. This is like a burlap color. So like this is like some sort of cloth. So leather is these straps or his armor. So this is leather. So here we go. Fucked it. Like, it's ruined. Let's find out. I do like the idea that it's going to be red though, because it's squig. So that's good. Yeah, okay. That's quite fun. Concentrating a lot now, so I can make sure I paint within the lines, which is the only difficult bit with Slapchop. I think someone said that people wouldn't learn brush control, but I think that I don't really know what that means, if I'm honest, when someone says brush control. But I think you learn it. You're like painting, right? Isn't the purpose that you're like you are managing? Is brush control just you can paint within the lines or something? Is that what it's meant to mean? Who knows? Who knows? Okay. All right, it's going quite well, in my opinion. It's whether or not it's going to look good on the rest of the model. Okay, so there we go. You can see. I don't think that looks too bad. Right? This strap would be leather as this would be red as well because that's leather. So yeah, it's going to be okay. I mean, the best thing we can do is try it, right? And then we'll find out after. Did you see that Cult Demigod took a hit? They keep coming for you. What? Where? Where? This is some Age of Sigmar rule stuff. This cannot be true. There is no way. Because it's a ball ache having to tidy up when you go to the lines. Can you please start repping some Seraphon unless you want to run? They can't have hit Cold Demagogue. Why? I just closed my Bixbox and realised I need more thing. Oh, that's the worst. New Zinch FAQ is out. Oh no. We're going to have to recover this, aren't we? Oh no. And a Beast Swan. Oh, okay. Oh no. Errata October 2022. No, it's not that one. Blue Scribe's Tears. Oh my fucking god. Okay, I'll go read that in a second. Let me do a bit more of this and then we'll make some content on the erratas. Because that's nonsense behaviour. Okay. Right. Okay, looking pretty nice. Thanks, Phil. All right, we're getting there. I don't think this looks bad. I think you're all quite right. This is where I prefer dry brushing, by the way, to the airbrush. Is you end up with a lot of texture, and it's great for leather. Like that reads as leather a lot more, just because it's like a bit ratty and a bit scratched up and stuff. Oh, fun. Absolutely fun. Okay, he looks great. Okay. Yeah, you got me, chat. You got me. You got me real good. And then we need... That's the burlap material. That's leather. That's leather. So we'll just do the rest of the leather bits. Okay, good work, chat. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I was at a tournament last weekend speaking to a friend about painting and colour schemes, and they showed me this app called the Colour Picker. You set the paint brands in a specific colour, then it suggests colours that complement it as a scheme. You can even pick by paint type based on contrast. Wow, that's cool. I'm going to have to try that app out. Thank you. That's a cool little an app. We should do that for Age of Sigmar. You'd be like, I'd like to run this unit. You'd be like, okay, well, let's pair it with this other unit, shall we? Because they work well together. That's a cool little bit. So these FAQs are actually just nerfs now. So they're like, in the Age of Sigmar rules, they're just putting in like targeted nerfs to different armies, and then pretending it's an FAQ. Is that what we're seeing? Because that's pretty interesting. Like, oh yeah, by the way, this was meant to be something else, but actually, it's just like a two week nerf. If that's like the new paradigm, that's pretty bold. That's a big change to the game system, because then you really can't trust anything until those things are out. So I'm glad I haven't done my my review for Tzeentch yet, because it would now currently be out of date. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, if you have an ability to know the full spell lore, you can't use it if you aren't in the army. Wow. Wow. I mean, you could until the FAQ though, right, Phil? So we were right, because me and Phil were discussing this off air. So you could, and now they've FAQ'd it so you can't. So like it was 100% possible to do, and then they've made it so it's not possible. I can't believe this guy's using... can we just talk about the fact he's using squigs? He's using squig skin for his leather. What an absolute monster. Okay. Is that burlap? I think that's leather as well. So that's getting the red treatment. I find the contrast paint ruins brushes really fast. Is that a problem for you, Have? No. I think I've been using this same brush for... I think I've done an entire Seraphon. Like I've got a couple of brushes. I've done an entire Seraphon, Stormcast, Beasts of Chaos, and other random stuff, armies, and they've been the same few brushes. So no, I just wash them with water like you do with any other paint. So my answer would be no. But then I also don't really care how the brushes look at the end. So like some people are always about that fine point, but I'm never doing any fine point work, so it doesn't bother me personally. Okay. Yeah, he's a Gitz thing, so he's meant to have a load of colours. There's meant to be a load of colours on this guy, right? That's the purpose of this. All right. I think not bad. What do you all think? Like, the leather is done. So I think that's all the leather. Then we just, oh, actually, I guess this armor is leather, but this is pretty complicated, so I'm going to come back to this. Because this stuff at the bottom is definitely some sort of like, yeah, and like this is, maybe it's wood. Maybe we just make it read as wood. Because, yeah, he'd have armoured wood, wouldn't he? Oh, his belt is leather, I guess, as well, so I'll do that. A yellow hood. Bro, we're going to make him look like a clown. We always suggest the most crazy colours. And like, we can't have him looking like a clown. Have you tried dropping Vallejo metal color silver, like one single drop into contrast paint when painting metal? It looks dope. No, I haven't. Maybe that's, again, something else we can try today. That sounds like fun. Going to pick up a couple at the end of the month. Dom, how's the Christmas events looking? I think this. Are you talking about the one on the 18th? You're talking about. By the way, if anyone's watching this back video, we do. I live in Nottingham in the UK, and I run Warhammer events here at my venue, and there are tickets available on our Eventbrite. So search for the Honest Wargamer. The war. I think they're all selling okay. I think they're like a quarter sold already, maybe. Which is nice, but I haven't advertised them. I've only advertised them in our WhatsApp group. So, like, that's something I was going to do later today. Was going to advertise those events. So, like, I should get on that. The days in between, just checking. I don't need to grab it before they sell out. I think it's okay so far. I know Nathan is coming to 3 of the events. I know James and Meg are coming to 3 of the events. There'll be some YouTube thugs who are like, who the fuck are they? They're just my friends, and they do like the Monday show with me. The red leather looks great. Absolutely fucking great shout, chat. The red leather looks dope as fuck. Look at that. That looks wicked. I love that. That looks great. Yeah, that's good. I definitely am going to do that as wood, I think, because he would have like wood shaman. Does that mean his like magic cloth across his face is leather as well? Interesting. That's like a cloth material, I think. We'll come back to that. We're going to come back to that, definitely. I'll be coming to a few, dude. I want to play Nathan. I'll bribe you to make it happen. Don't worry, you definitely can. The events are cracking. People are super friendly and accommodating, apart from Adam. I would recommend it even if you're not a top player. Good. I have some time off over Christmas and Wi-Fi flights to Nottingham, so it'd be nice to meet everyone. Hopefully dates line up. So it's between. So it's the 27th. It's the day after Boxing Day, which is 27th of December till the 31st of December. And we're having a single Age of Sigmar day, one day every single day. You're super welcome to pop in if you're in or around Nottingham just to say hello, even if you don't play the games or want to get a ticket. But obviously we'll be running an event, so won't necessarily have loads of time to hang and chill. Okay. We need to choose this burlap colour. I'm going to do Argos Dunes. So a bit of Argos Dunes for the kids. So here it is, Argos Dunes. Yeah, so it's kind of like a snakebite, leather, brown colour. So we're going to be adding a little bit more brown to this miniature right now, which is kind of okay. Because he needs some more. Because it is a little bit yellow though, so whoever wanted a little bit yellow, you'll get that. Literally nothing happens that time of year. I agree. Like literally, there's nothing around that time of year. I'm extremely disappointed that my Fate Skimmer and my Change Caster on disc are no longer a monster. I'm so sorry, buddy. Argos Dunes when you want to paint by numbers. Argos Dunes is a great paint. Like it just is a great paint. There we go. And it's definitely got like that leather, yellowy tinge to it, and it's almost snake. It's almost it's different enough to what color am I trying to say? Skeleton Horde, which is good because we want to use Skeleton Horde a lot for bone and rope and all sorts of other stuff. Like Skeleton Horde is a great paint that we will use a lot. So it's all good making like 9 different reds, like it really is. But like I quite like the material colors, you know, like silver and metal and gold and like yeah, he's looking great. He's looking great. We've done quite well with this. Do you need to wait to be called up when you rest Argos students? Any update on the pack for November Nightmares? Curly Hair King. No, I'll put that out today if you want. I could do that after this. I could do all the event stuff after this. I've got like a load of admin to do today anyway, so get it done. And then we're doing Ogres tomorrow. Ogres stream tomorrow where we talk about the Ogre stuff. Honestly, cannot believe that they've done some changes to the Zinch book. Really looking forward to looking at that in a minute. But I would like to try and make some real fucking headway with this miniature. Because not 100% certain we're going to get it finished today. Because we are several hours in. This is one of those times where I definitely feel like I should edit it down for the YouTube thugs. But I'm not going to. but I assume people just watch these and just have it on in the background while they're painting. So if you are doing that, hope you're having a nice time. Hope the painting's going well and it's enjoyable. That looks good, right? Yeah, that looks good. That's a good colour. And now they know, yeah. I mean, it's a good time of year. Scrivo should definitely come up. Like, it's just a great time of year to go and see all your mates and play war games, in my opinion. I think that period of time, like, no one ever organises it during that period of time, but I don't know why, because it just feels like there's loads of people with nothing to do during that period of time. So, I'll be heading up over Christmas to the in-laws, so I'll be going up to Scotland, and that'll be interesting. I haven't done that yet, so looking forward to doing that later on in the year. There we go. Actually assembling MCP with you in the BG. Oh, nice! Some MCP. I love the MCP stuff. It's so good. I really want to get back to playing that as well. That would be really fun. The miniatures are just so good. The rule system is good. The way the company deals with you as players is great. I mean, just also they're a fantastic company to be a part of as miniatures. I really do think that. Will new Slave to Darkness be legal at any of my events? Yeah, all of my events. I don't think there's anything in there that's not accurate. It's just unless they're using these 2-week FAQs to be balance patches. Those 2-week FAQs are going to be a mess. And yeah, Slave to Darkness will be legal though. So will Ogres. So they're all legal. And also, if you are going to come, Phil, let everyone know that anyone who you might know who wants to come to the event. That'd be great. Or there's several events. We've got an event in November where Slaves to Darkness are legal. We have an event in December where they're legal. A 2-day event. Let's do it, mate. I don't think you'll actually play my Troggs review. Yeah, I'll speak to my local guys and see if we can let's go. Let's get a car full. Let's just all go play Warhammers. And there should be like 3 new boards at the arena. Maybe for November there'll only be the 1 new board. But by the December time there'll be 3 new boards at the arena. So new Tzeentch board at the arena, which I'm going to be painting up, which is almost painted. New Carriage and Overlords board and a new Fire Slayers board, taking us to 3 dwarf boards. I don't know why that is, but just is. I think this guy's looking pretty good now. Like, I'm not going to lie. I feel like the choices are good. I feel like there's still some issues. I don't know what I'm going to do. These little individual like tokens and items. Those are going to need some real thought, but we'll do that later. All this stuff is Argos Dunes is a great color. It's so solid as a paint job for doing like leather and all this other stuff. This burlap sack is also going to be in Argos Dunes. So, fuck it, I'm calling it sick today. Dad, bud, are you okay? Are you alright, bud? Like, stay safe, stay well, please. Just need to confirm plans for Xmas, etc. before coming in. Yeah, I understand. Like, I just wanted to hang out with loads of people over Christmas. I just thought a cool thing to do over Christmas would be to hold a bunch of events. Me and my partner both are excited to come back to Nottingham and hang out like at the venue while events are on. So I'm really fortunate that she's wicked and she wants to be a part of that. So that's great. There's so many people I'd like to see. I'd love to play some Warhammer myself. It's just pretty much, the perfect kind of life. So, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. Oh, boy. He's looking nice. I've missed some leather at the bottom, but I'll come back to that. Can I attend an event with an army I haven't finished painting? I'm afraid not. You have to have a fully painted army. Like, that is, unfortunately, the whole point of Slapchop stuff is the drum leather squigs. Yes, a great question. I was kind of thinking that. Like, great question. I was absolutely thinking that. I was like, yeah, we should 100% do the drum as leather. And he's got some other leather bits on him as well. So, yeah, I've done inside there, haven't I? Yeah. What else do we need? This bottom. Do the in-laws understand the hams, Rob? My in-laws, yes. Yes, they're very conscious of what Warhammer is, thankfully. But that's because my partner is also into Warhammer, so I'm super fortunate that it makes a lot of sense to everyone involved about what it is. But also, but the eventing side, you could be into Warhammer but not understand the eventing side, as in, all the great people that you want to see at an event. But thankfully, I'm fortunate on that front as well. Is she also good at Slapchop? She's not as good as me. Come on, obviously. No one's as good as the Turkish master. But yeah, so I'm fortunate that I'm going to do that, and I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to. I always like Christmas as a time of year. I know some people find it a hard time, but again, that's why I want to put some events on, so people have somewhere to go, somewhere they can enjoy themselves, somewhere that they can feel a little bit more comfortable, which is good. Yeah, I've got to go back to the red now, because I missed loads of leather on the red, and also the bottom of this drum. I've really fucked this drum up, to be honest. I haven't done a good job on this drum at all. But there we go. He's looking good, though. The burlap sack stuff looks really good, in my opinion. I absolutely love Argos Tunes as a colour. Just really, really nice colour. Please enter alongside her golden team. Yeah. If you ask me how good I am at Slapchop, I'll say on a scale of 1 to Rob, I'm a 5. But Rob being a 4. Yeah. I have been painting way too long, but he's looking pretty nice, so I'm not too stressed about that. We do the metal stuff with contrast or normal metallics. I'm just going to do it with contrast today. I'm just going to do it with normal contrast, in my opinion. Just going to pick out some more leather that I missed, and then I guess we'll start working on some of the bone, because that's an easy one to do, because there's some bone stuff to do. I missed a bit of the squig leather. I can't believe this is skin squig leather. That's a problem. Yeah. Imagine a guy that you meet and you're like, or a girl, whatever, and you're like, she's a 10, but she doesn't slap chop. Like, okay. It looks fantastic for such a simple method. That's the point, bro. That's what we're here for. Like, I'm sure there are some cases where I would love to do the traditional paint. Definitely, there's a great argument that other things look better. All those other things, they're all valid complaints, criticisms, arguments. But it's not about it looking better. It's about it being fast and it being easy to do and getting your stuff on the tabletop, which is what I want to do, so I can play some games. And I'm sure the Trog boys are pretty happy that I'm joining the Trog side. But I'm actually secretly painting about 6 armies, mainly because they might be useful for me doing battle reports in the future, letting people borrow armies when they come to the arena. There's a variety of reasons why I would like to do this. So this is all working in towards my master plan of just having lots of armies. But then having lots of armies is pretty good for someone like me, because obviously I can use that for content and other stuff, so it's not a by the by. I have met a lot of gals that look like they could do better putting on the makeup. So Slapchop, oh, Jesus. The lad from Liverpool's in the chat. Good, love that. Hello. I may leave a Google review of the Warhammer Museum. Stunning models, great displays, but no Slapchop. 7 out of 10. Oh my God, should we Google bomb review the Warhammer world? That's absolutely. That would be so funny. That would be great. That would be great. Oh, I'm really glad we went for red with the leather. Question: do we do the leather drum as red? Like the drum, bum, 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 bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum bum. Do we do his drum as like red leather, so like it's squig hide that's been stretched? Is that the? I think no. Oh, love some consensus in the chat. Thanks, chat. Okay, so we're thinking no for the minute. All right, we'll leave it. All right, because it was stretched out. Okay. Let me just put a bit more red in here. Okay. Right, time to do the bone. Let's do the bone now and the rope. The problem is the bone and the rope's going to be pretty much the same color, but whatever. A lighter red perhaps. Git skin. Human skin is too down. Is tight though. Human skin would be cool. Blue drum skin. Oh, thank you, Nurgle Matthew, for donating £7.77 to the show. Oh man, that's nice of you. Thanks, bud. I don't know what that's for, but that's very kind. And thanks for always being like a great support of the show. It's great. That's super lovely of you. Really appreciate you. Okay, so skeleton horde. We're just going to pick out all the bone, basically. That's what it is. That's what skeleton horde does. I don't generally tend to thin down skeleton horde at all, to be honest. I don't know why. I just generally don't tend to. I don't think it really needs it. So pick this out. There you go. And I love how easy this is, because it's. I remember doing some Mechanicus models, and I was painting them traditionally, and it was like, I think I did like 3 or 4. Oh, that's the wrong color. I did like 3 or 4 different layers to like actually paint a skull. I remember clear as day, and I was like watching a tutorial online, and I was so happy. I was like, look at this skull I have done. Look at this skull on this Mechanicus model. I am a golden god. And I was so proud of myself. And then I looked at the rest of the model, and there were like 30 other fucking skulls. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I am not doing any more skulls in that manner, ever. Like, it was just, I'm never doing it again. Like, but they look good. I was really proud of them. I think they look really good. So I've got to work out what the kind of like the rope stuff is going to be. I guess that's actually going to be leather as well. That's going to be awkward, but fuck it. Let's go for it. Am I also going to paint up like a metric ton of squigs? That's kind of going to have to be another question at some point. I don't know if there are any 3D files. I think there are some 3D files for squigs, but squigs by Games Workshop just do the best squigs. I don't think I've seen anyone who's done better squigs than G-Dubs. My personal opinion. I think they just do them absolutely perfectly. So that would be what I would do after Trolls. I would do Trolls, then I would do squigs. I would like prepping for the new Gloomspite Gitz book. I would do Trolls. Then I would do, because they're the easiest to put on the table probably. Then I would do squigs, second easiest. And lastly, I would do the grot side of it, just because it's just so much to paint. If you were going for like a complete sort of collection, and obviously like that's a big deal to go for like a big-ish collection. Spider Riders would be last on my list. Not because I don't think that they're going to be good. I don't really have any inkling either way. I just don't think that stonks that I would personally invest in at the moment. The Oracles have been painting squigs. The Oracles. I like that there's a new term. I love that there's a new term for playtesters who've got advanced copies and knowledge of information about gaming, and we now call them the Oracles. Oh, the Oracles and the Prophecy. Oh. With this Slapchop method work on larger models, it would be fantastic on Mega Gargants, bud. Fantastic on Mega Gargants. Really easy to achieve on Mega Gargants. You'd have a great time with Megs. Yeah, they'd work so well. The Oracles is a great term. Thanks, Dom, for making me chuckle. The fucking Oracles. I would love if the playtesters are excited about stuff that looks great on paper but crap in practice. Yeah, like that would be really fun if they were like throwing us for a ringer, and they were like, I just really like how squigs look, but there's absolutely no shot. Like these are like members of like national teams who are just accidentally painting them up. Like it's just funny, and it's cool. Like that we get that advanced knowledge. Like if you're into Warhammer enough, you can definitely know what's coming out before like I know other people, I guess, or something. Oh, hold on, because you can kind of like game the system by understanding who's who in the Warhammer world. I'm sure some people would find it like a negative, which is fair. Turkish monks, oracles, I need more production meta lore. Like, this is it. So, like, you listen to the prophecies from the oracles, you then paint your army with the Turkish monks' techniques, and you're most of the way there to having... Oh, dude, I've just seen him on the screen. He looks great, right? Oh, dudes, we've done a good job. He's okay. He's okay looking, right? Not sure if you've already explained this, and sorry for keep asking, no problem. But is it just prime black with grey dry brush and always go with contrast? Yes. So it's dry brush with grey, then dry brush with white on the edges to create highlights. If you just go watch the Slapchop video that's on YouTube that I've done, then that will give you a really good indication of like what to use. The other only one bit of info that you need is to thin down the paints when you apply the contrast. Don't just blob it on, and that's it. Just a matter of time before the oracles form a syndicate where they all post pics of them painting the bad stuff. Imagine if there was like a secret Discord group which all the oracles were in. Oh, that's great. That's absolutely great. The fucking oracles. I might just start referring to players who I know are playtesters as oracles, and they'll never get it, and that'll be fine. That'll be funny just for us in the chat, and that's all that matters. It's all that matters that we have fun. Hello, Nogo Matthew. Thanks for donating a gift sub to Death by Dan. Hokey Poco sold a giant Slapchop Squig army a few months ago to support a printer purchase, but I guess it was the wrong army to sell since those models are so much better than any 3D artist so far had come up with. Also, I reckon Squigs are faster to paint point for point than any other sub-faction in that book. Yeah, I guess so. I absolutely guess so. I would say that Squigs and Ogres are two of the armies that I haven't seen done well from 3D designers. I've seen great Beast of Chaos sculpts, Skaven, I guess maybe Warriors. I've seen loads of all the demon stuff like Nurgles or any of that. I haven't seen like great Slaves to Darkness 3D sculpts. I've seen some okay stuff, but not necessarily great stuff. By the way, can we just look how long it took me to paint like all those teeth? Seconds. Absolutely seconds on this nonsense. I saw a bunch of goblins riding pumpkins in a Halloween set. They were cool. Oh, I did see those as well. Yeah, they were really fun. There's definitely some great stuff. Definitely some great stuff out there. I mean, just look at this guy. This guy's great. So I decided to go for him, and then the trolls that I'm going to do after, because I was just like, the river trolls are actually too big. Oh my god. Should I go get them and show you? Because I think it's very cool. 1 second. I'll go get them. YouTube, dead air. So, I mean, they're almost as big as this guy. So, you're not going to be able to see because I haven't dry brushed it. But that's one of my river trolls. And river trolls are small. Like, river trolls are kind of this size. So, like, compared. So they're bigger. Like, they really fucking struggle to fit on I think a 50mm base. They're oh yes, those are the Gitz. Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. I can do... there are trolls from there. I'd forgotten about those. I actually subscribed to that Patreon, which is quite funny. For Squigs. Yeah. But yeah, these are just fantastic. But I just want to paint them because they're cool. Like, these are just great. They're going to be way too big for River Trolls. Like, I'm really going to have to like push the boat out on those 40mm bases, 50mm bases to get them on the base. But like, give a shit. Like, what's the point? Are we here to have fun or fuck around? Well, we're both actually. That's kind of the point. But I think they look amazing. They're fell waters, yeah. That's what they make fell waters in Age of Sigmar. So just, I mean, they're very big, but they're just great, like absolutely great, and they look wicked. And that's what I mean. Like, I really want to like inspire people with 3D prints now. 3D prints and Slapchop's kind of my like produce a whole army that looks very, very nice and just inspires people a little bit. And that's what I'm here for nowadays, because it's fun. Because it's fun, and like, you know, that's kind of my way of like saying like, look, you know, you can do stuff cheaper or different or interesting or whatever. So we'll see. Did you print 18 without checking the scale? No, I didn't, Hokey Poker. I printed one. I knew how big it was. Yeah, but I wanted them at the scale they were at. Yeah, I didn't want to scale them down. I want them to be big. Like, I want them to be scary. Like, regular River Trolls are a bit like bleh. So I wanted them to be massive and just have a cool looking unit. So they need to jump on that squig box is lower since there are 3D prints out there. Yes, there are 3D squig prints. Squig Herd are out there, and hoppers are out there, but no Boingrots, because the sculpts that are out there are ones that have been ripped from Total War. And therefore, they are like they don't have Boingrot bounders in Total War. It's all Warhammer Fantasy Battle stuff, is what they have. So they don't have the other stuff. I did a whole 3D print Sons of Behemoth army and Slapchopped it. T. Robertson, great work. And how did it go down? How did the people who played against it find it? That's the kind of question I'd like to know the answer to. What were we going to paint next? I think we're a bit stuck now, if I'm honest. Oh, there's some more skull stuff to do right here. Okay, great. Yeah. Toby did my nomads this week. Oh, fun. I was going to print a Beast of Chaos army, but even if you go with elite monsters, there are so many models. There are. Trolls and ogres are kind of the perfect 3D printed army in a lot of ways, because they're like slightly larger models. So you don't have to print quite as many, which is quite nice. But the economy of scale on like 25mm models is nuts. Like, Squire Acolytes are a good example. They're £13.50 per one from Games Workshop, and I think you can print like 12 for like £2. The scale is nuts, right? It's really good. I don't know where to go with this dude now. I think I decided I was going to do his greaves as some sort of some sort of like wood, like as armor panels. I was thinking of that. And then he's got like a lot of like armor, which I'm going to do in grey. I definitely need to finish off this bone bit here. Just finish painting. Are we doing an FAQ check? We're definitely doing an FAQ check, my friend. But we're just not going to do that this second. Played it at Ragnarok GT, and people were really complimentary about it. A few people asked where I got the prints. I spent one of your tweets with a picture of them, and people responded really well to that also. Oh, that's great. That's lovely to hear. Absolutely really happy that people are enjoying them. There we go. Let's just get this wildwood on this bit, which I forgot to do earlier. I'm just going to put wildwood back over the top of this because I wasn't super happy with the snakebite on top. So there we go. Shaban, got to pop to work. Hope everyone has a good day. Hope you have a great day too. Thanks for resubscribing. Okay, let's do metal, because I still don't know what to do with that, so I'm hoping the inspiration will come to me. So we need some silver, and I know that we could use actual metals, but we're just not going to do that today in addition. There's a couple of ways we could go with it. We could do Black Templar and thin it down. We could do Griff Charger Grey, and we could do Space Wolf Grey. So like, love your invention of the slap job, International Baker. And I'm really glad. I hope you had a great time painting your minis. You got Griff Charger Grey and Space Wolf Grey. Griff Charger Grey will get you kind of like a darker colour. And you can also use Black Templar, but I might use Black Templar for something else. So I'm going to probably do Griff Charger Grey. Probably. Yes. Let's do this. Let's do Griff Charger Grey. It's a good colour, Griff Charger Grey, in my opinion. So thin it down, and then let's slop it on. So it's like a fun metal colour for not a lot of effort. Not sure about his crown yet. I don't know if I'm going to Nazareth yellow up his crown. So this thing that he's rocking. I honestly don't know what that is. So I'm just going to save that for myself for a minute and just pick out a load of different metal sections. There we go. Like, you can thin it down, you can not thin it down. This is one of those ones where the less you thin it down, the more you're going to end up with kind of like a block metal kind of colour. So just here, and then over the edge. So I haven't thinned this down too much. Oh no, I've gone way over the top. Oh, you've gone all the way on anti-Gargant. I love that. A drop of. I know a lot of people are saying to put a drop of steel in. The thing is, I've done quite well with this model so far, and I honestly don't know about doing that right now. So I'll do that I'll do that maybe in my own time, and then come back to it another day, and try that again, maybe next week or something. That would be quite cool and fun to do. That'd be interesting. I haven't done that before. There we go. It's just a really easy way of getting, because it just reads. It reads as metal, I think. Yeah, that looks cool. I might the next time I paint some stuff, I might get like a painter I know online with me, and they can just chat about stuff that they know about painting while we do this. We could kind of run them in as interviews at the same time, which would be a fun thing to do. But thing is, I only know really Henry, and Henry's got. I mean, everyone I know's got their own platform, so it doesn't really. They don't really need to join me, if that makes sense. It seems a bit superfluous. You can just go listen to their actual content, which would probably be loads better. How do you keep yourself motivated to paint? I mean, pure will and tenacity is one of those things. Like, just aggressively go for it is an easy solution if you want something like that. I mean, again, I'm painting for a purpose. I'm painting to have an army that I can use. That's very different to just painting for fun. And I would say that if you are painting for fun and you're finding yourself having to like push yourself, then maybe just relax. It's meant to be fun. Like, just don't do it. Go do something else for a bit. If you're painting like in the crucible of needing to go to an event, you just got to get it fucking done. That's it. That easy. How do you know you're finished painting something? I mean, I feel finished now, to be honest, but because I don't edge highlight, right? I don't go back and try that extra bit that you might need to do on a mini. I mean, I know I've done it when I've just put contrast on every part of the model. That's how I finish painting. Like, and then I'm okay with it. And I also lie to myself. That's also very important. I just lie. I'm like, yep, I will come back to that. And I'm lying. Every time I say that, I'm just outrageously lying to myself. I'm just being like, I will do this, but I will never do this, right? I'm never going to, because I just don't want to. That's the easy answer. Yeah, just I lie. I lie to myself. I trick myself. I tell myself I'm going to do something, and I'm lying. All right, just lie. Just lie about it. Just don't give a shit. Okay. Just that's the trick. That's this. Painting with this one. You need this. All you need for painting this is one cute trick. Lie. Yeah, like if you become a chaos player, you're never finished because you can never paint all of the trim. It's impossible. There is never enough trim to paint. Well, there's always too much trim to paint, right? I crush my own hopes and dreams. I agree. Now, I would like to, I guess, lean into in the future doing metals on the bits that are actually metal, like these axe heads and other stuff, because I think that would be quite fun to use actual metallic paints and then use contrast in conjunction with them. But as of yet, I haven't really got the skill sets to do that or the knowledge base, so it's going to have to be something that I just do later on in my journey. And so it's not something I'm too worried about right now, because this grey reads well enough for me. I think people like, and it's also because metallics are pretty heavy most of the time. Normally you can go back over something with metallics because they are just a very heavy paint, aren't they? That normally just override stuff. You can't metallic over Slapchop because they're not translucent at all. I'll send you a couple of paints I think you need. Okay, thanks. Talking about metallics. I think metallics are also one of those things where you always do a wash over metallics. I tend to find that they look very block color, in my opinion. So, and I like metallics, I do. I just think that they can look very undone, like very non-finished metallic. Like so now that silver has dried there on the neck piece. I think that reads as a non-metallic metal personally. That reads to me as some sort of metallic color there. I don't know what you guys think, but it does to me. I think that looks pretty cool actually, with like some highlights and some other bits. Not adding those, just like I think it naturally produces some highlights and stuff. But that's me. I love how that looks. I've always liked how that looks. Maybe a bit darker. So maybe a bit darker in here. There we go. Robbie looked at this vid from Marco where he makes metallic contrast. I watched that and tried to replicate it myself. You've definitely put the Vallejo metal colors thinned with their thinner and flow over the Slapchop dry brush. You can definitely put Vallejo metal colors thinned with their thinner and flow improver over a Slapchop dry brush. They're so runny. That's interesting. Thank you. Something I need to think about. But I feel this reads like silver. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I feel like it does. Doesn't necessarily definitely do, but maybe that's me tricking myself. Just a bit of copium, a bit of hopium there, just like, please let it. But I think it's good enough, which is all we're really, yeah. And as Picasso said, art is what you can get away with. And this definitely isn't quick though, right? I've been painting this now for, I don't know, a few hours. It's quite a large model, but I feel like we did double Slapchop elements of this model. So there's definitely scope to go back and double Slapchop other elements of this model as well. I'm very tempted to do the greave plates here as this kind of silver metal as well, just because I'm lazy. Simple as. I'm a little bit daunted about what to do those. I can't, as of yet, I can't decide, and so I'm not doing it. I'm kind of just avoiding it emotionally. I think that is, oh no, that's definitely metal. That's his shield piece. So that works. There we go. We need to do those axe handles as well. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, there we go. I think that reads okay for me personally. Thanks, Cabbage. Also, talking to chat slows you down a bit. Yeah, painting a model of this size in 2 hours is great. Hello, Mr. Budtastic Guy. Can we get a little love for Mr. Budtastic Guy in the chat? Big fan of that guy. He's a cutie. I feel like we could maybe use black as the kind of the rope color. And there's definitely some more red I need to apply, so I'm going to do that right now, which we decided with... Did we go for Bar Red or Blood Angels Red? We went for Blood Angels Red, didn't we? Yeah. Are the Sons of Behemoth universally hated? No, they're not universally hated. Don't worry. You can run Sons of Behemoth and have a great time. No one's going to be critical. Someone might be like, yawn, but that's just because your army is boring. But you can have a great time playing it. And most people will have, you can suplex some stuff and that'll be really fun. Like, so that's something to be conscious of. Like, you can definitely make them fun. I know Cabbage has had more fun with it recently, and people have had more fun playing Cabbage with it recently. This is my friend, Charlie. So that's something to just be aware of. If your giants are heavily kit bash 3D printed to look cool, it's more fun. That's also true. I think suplexing stuff is more fun. I'm not sure if they're going to come back as being as big in the meta as I maybe thought they were going to be. I thought that they were going to be absolutely everywhere. That said, though, we're very early into the edition. Sorry, we're really into the release, so it might be that it hasn't happened yet. That's all we're waiting for. He's got some leather like straps around his neck, so that's red. So I'm just painting that in now, and that is very small. That is all I'm going to say. Arguably too small for my tiny dumb hands. No, my big dumb hands. Sorry. If you're trying to say, yeah. Hello to Keskasset. What do you dislike more, Sons or Kragnos? Both equally. They just fulfill a role of something I need to hate. I don't think Sons of Behemoth will have the damage output to be top tier army. I agree with you in some ways, Rob. I just think one of those things to think about is like they're so good on the primary. Are they going to get out primaried? If they're so good on the primary, then I guess they can maybe maintain their position. I'm not sure. Okay. What's next? We've done the... We need to decide what this is going to be. This, like, wood paneling that he's got here. I definitely think that's wood. I'm going to do that as wood. I think that reads as wood. This kind of, like, the leather greaves and this shoulder pad. I'm going to go back to our original wood colour here. And then maybe we'll double slap chop it. And then we'll pick out here. Look how good that double slap chop has ended up, by the way. Like, I think that looks really nice. Like, adds loads of tone to that wood. And the skin obviously worked out fantastic, but that was the chat. The chat decided on the double slap chop, not me. So, we're going to go back to Cygor Brown. And then we'll come back. And then we're going to thin this down. And then we'll bosh that. I think that's going to be the best solution for this. I'm just going to do it all as wood. And then maybe we can thin it all down. There we go. I really liked in World of Warcraft. I was always a big fan of like the shaman trolls and the shaman class. I always thought that was really wicked. So I'd love I like the shamanist stuff when you get to paint it and stuff. It's really fun. But I'm never bold enough with my color choices to be like a true admirer of the shaman stuff, because I feel like you got to be like just really keen on the colors. You got to be like, I'm going to go for some reds and yellows and all sorts of stuff, because it's a lot, right? You've not been slow. Shaman Trolls and Shaman Orcs are superb. Yeah, I agree. Tauren Shaman Slaps. Yeah, I really like the Orc Shaman. All that stuff I always thought was just so great. I don't know if this wood is going to make sense, but I'm just doing it anyway at this point. Does that read as wood? What is it? It's too late now. I guess it could have been squig leather, but it's not. It's wood, so we're fucking going for it. That's what it is now, kids. It's wood. I main Dwarf Rogue. Nice, cute. I played as a shaman because I like dropping my little barrels, and I think I was originally like a Draenei shaman, and then eventually I was a dwarf shaman because come on, I got to have little barrels that I ran around with, which I thought was super cute. So I really I loved that. That was great. A great time. When everyone in the world was playing it, that was super fun. It's just great when there's those like universal events that happen in culture where a significant portion of us are all a part of it. And I guess that's one of the things I really love about Warhammer, is that that's how it definitely feels when we go to a Warhammer event, or we go and see our friends and stuff. It feels like we're all part of this kind of like global gaming thing, which I always liked about when you logged into like World of Warcraft or something, you felt like you were a part of something that everyone else was a part of as well, like that community feel, which makes lots of sense. You know, at the end of the day, that's what humans are really built for. Like, they're not that isolationist. They quite like being with other humans generally, just not the ones that make them feel sad. And that differs between different, obviously, groups. The metal medium works really well, makes all the paint sparkly. Oh, is this using some other sort of special paint? Yeah. Vallejo silver. Try mixing Vallejo metal medium. Interesting. Guild Wars was my guild was amazing. Some of the best friends I met through WoW. I think that's true for. Oh, I didn't even do the skull on his thing. Come on, Rob. You fucking slipping. You fucking slipping. It's great, and that's what I love about doing Twitch. It's what I love about live streaming. I get to build a community, get to be part of a community. I get to like learn from other people. I get to like hang out with people. It's just great, absolutely fantastic stuff. Really good. There we go. I've been painting for way too long now. Like way too long. This is like an outrageously long video. There's no way this could be a YouTube video, and yet, I'm off football tonight and have some vibes. WoW was, I'm off to the football tonight and it's same vibes. WoW was hot shit back in the day. Yeah, it was. Yeah, hot shit back in the day. It's true. And I've realised I haven't done his tootsies, his little toes. Come on. He needs to do his toes and his nails. Let's get them painted up. In moments. There we go. Toes done. Nails. I like that someone would spend literally ages on those. Because those are legit. Like when you do the little nails, they look really cool when people do them well. But obviously we've done that. That's done. It's done in seconds. We've done the wood. What's left? We need a rope color. That's the thing. I'm gonna do red actually on that little bit on the bottom. So let's do this. Skeleton Horde rope. So I've done Skeleton Horde. The problem is I've done Skeleton Horde on the bone. So then I'm not really sure what to do there, if that makes sense. I can quickly jump on the FAQ. Can we quickly jump on the FAQ? We can. Give me a second. Let me just add a bit of red there. Okay. I can come back to finishing this. One sec. Okay. And keep going. Just painted the wood on the weapons there. Just to keep that looking nice. Oh, I've accidentally got some paint on the shield. Disaster. Is there a way around it? Can I save it? No. That is now some grime. Congratulations. That's some grime. Oh, he's got some little ginger armpit hair that I need to paint in, which I haven't done yet. So let's paint that in. I think we're close. I think we're close to getting this guy finished, which is nice. Like there's some little bits. I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do with the the big magical power. I think that's probably going to be green because it's going to be a Gitz army. So that's pretty important to make sure I get that right. The last couple of bits I need to do are the rope. I'm going to do some rope and bone because there's loads of rope on this model. And bone. And then I'm going to call it a day because I'm going to definitely want to take some time to think about what I want to do for the smoke effect on the. So I'm just going to paint these up as metal as well. So these little metallic bits. I'm definitely going to try and work out what I want to do with that smoke effect because he's going to be like a pretty important character in my army, so I want to make sure I get it absolutely right. Oh, thanks DadBondNapGod for for donating a gift sub. That's so nice of you. That's cool. Where are we at? What we got left to do? We've got a little bit of skull there that I missed. So we're going to do rope. Let's do rope next because there's a lot of rope on him. I think I might go for black for the rope. It's not quite normal. But I think that I could, yeah, I'm just going to go for some blacks. It's just very easy. So Black Templar, which is super simple. Also, if you are International Baker, if you are someone who plays Age of Sigmar and for some reason doesn't know about coming to the watching the Objective Zone or any of the TSN coverage, which me and a load of other people put together on a Sunday. So on the T Sports Network Twitch channel, so this Sunday, for instance, you're going to get to see loads of high-end competitive Age of Sigmar, which we like. So we live stream tournament games and we do coverage over the top. In my opinion, that's the best place to learn how to play, because you're going to see players who play really well, playing with armies they know really well, and like working out what to do, and that's a great forum for working out what to do yourself. So yeah, that's what I like about it. You get to see players playing at a level different to you, in ways different to you, and then you possibly learn how to play better. I definitely learned how to play better from doing that. We're live this Sunday, so that'll be on the T Sports Network Twitch. I think if you type in !T Sports, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, you can follow our Twitter account as well for T Sports Network. I guess we need to make another sort of social account at some point, just in case that gets burnt to the ground. Oh dear, it's so weird. It's like, oh, here's this way you can talk to people. Okay, what about now? Nope. Been destroyed. That's awful. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to use this. I'm using this this black for the rope. It looks okay. Doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look terrible. Oh no. What event are you doing on Sunday? I'm doing War in the Heartlands, and I'm doing the Nuges event. So NugeCon. So over from Texas. So there'll be a bunch of the Harambe's Heroes guys in Texas. But it'll be like an all-dayer, Rob, because they're like plus 8 hours. So I'll do War in the Heartlands, but War in the Heartlands is like 120 people over 5 rounds. So what is it? 60-30, 15. So there's still probably going to be like 8 people. Harrylicious, thanks for resubscribing. There's still probably going to be 8 people in with a shot of winning War in the Heartlands in round 5. It's only 5 rounds. So, like, there's a very good opportunity that, like, very good chance that we're not going to be covering whoever's going to be taking out the event. Like, it's very likely that's the situation. But you know, you can only do what you do, and I don't think it's as many people for the Harambe's Hero event. I think is it 50 people? So yeah, not as many people, which is fine. But it's going to be all day because they're plus 8 hours. So I'm looking forward to that, actually. I think that'll be quite fun. I like the idea of... it's going to be a long one, though. Oh, my God. It's like starts at like 8 or 9 a.m. on Sunday. And it won't end till midnight or beyond midnight, roughly. So it's going to be an all-dayer. So I need to pack some soup in a thermos. Like, it's going to be a long one. But I don't mind that. More Age of Sigmar all the time, more tournaments, more coverage. That's what we're here for. And I already knew going into it that was going to be something that happened. So, yeah, cool. I'll be on Sandwich News. Thank you. You're still painting. Who is this man? I agree. I'm going to stop soon because I thought I'd finish it, but I haven't, obviously. And because I've recorded it as like a YouTube vid, I was like, you've got to finish it because they need to see you finish it. But I'm like looking at the time now and I'm like, nah, I've got other stuff to do now. And it's meant to be fast, right? And it's definitely not fast, right? I mean, because I'm trying super hard with this mini. So there you go. I want this mini to be like super good. And we did double. I knew that we weren't going to get it finished as soon as we double slap-chopped. As soon as we double slap-chopped, I was like, yeah, this is going to take all day. And there is just lots of stuff on this mini as well, right? Like, it's not like plain and simple. There are loads of parts to this mini. So so he's a boss. He deserves extra time. That's true. Slapchop. That's true. 100 players, War in the Heartlands will be the biggest UK event post-COVID. Really? that's cool. That's great info. Thanks, Rob. What I'm going to do on Saturday night, Rob, is go through kind of like who's in contention to win. Now Ziggy's updated the stats. We can be like, oh, actually, this is the TS. This is like the best X player at X. Although most of those are in America, but I think some of the American boys will also be, or all the American boys will be in the TSN stats. American people, sorry, will be in the TSN stats, and so we'll be able to look at their performance as well. So, like, that'll be pretty good. We'll have like, because I think Gavin might be playing, so we should have some pretty good players playing all across the world. The only other event to be over 100 will be last year's War in the Heartlands. Interesting. Someone just needs to step up for UK events, right? We should just run one next year, Rob. Just run a massive one. Okay, good. Oh, more rope. There's a bit more rope there. I tell you what, Black Templar just doesn't seem to flow particularly fast. Oh yeah, so if you've just tuned in and you're a silent watcher right now, I am not a painter. Okay, right? I'm not a painter. And what I am is I do live coverage of Age of Sigmar stuff, and that's my whole shtick. So we do like stat stuff, we do stat center stuff, we do all sorts of things like that. You can go check out all my other videos and all the other content I make, and you'll see that it's pretty much exclusively competitive Age of Sigmar stuff. I occasionally will brandish myself into the competitive 40k community, like some sort of outlandish warlock, and get all the information wrong, but I will try, and I'm definitely going to jump back into it full-throated at 10th edition next year, but COVID just knocked it out of me, to be honest. I kept up with Age of Sigmar, but I didn't keep up with everything else. He hates painting so much, he was planning a grey plastic tournament at one point. Oh yeah, do you remember? It's hard to keep up with. I think 40k is hard to keep up with anyway, but maybe that's not true. Maybe it's only if you're motivated. All right, I'm going to stop there with some key bits to talk about, to do. I still have to do his horns, so I'm not sure what I'm doing with the horns. Got lots to do on him as a mini, but like lots to do with him as a mini. I don't know if I've got that much to do. I've just got to work out what I need to finish it off, and then we'll finish him off. But that's most of it. The fancy swirls. I definitely am going to do this green. So whenever you do see me post a picture on my socials, this magical thing here is going to be green, because it's a Gitz army at the end of the day. So he's doing Gitz magic, so that's going to be green. So he needs some like war in his life. I love the fact that my local toy store, I have no idea how I'm holding my slaves book in my hands. Bobbin, I'm so happy for you. Happy you've got him. Yeah, you go, bro. We double slap-chopped today, and it went really well. We're really happy with that. So overall, not bad. Not finished, but not bad. Okay? And I'm pretty happy with how that's going. So yeah, tune in next week. Well, I mean, tune in tomorrow. But tune in next week, and we'll go over how to nail this. Well, we'll finish him off. I'll finish him off offline, and then we'll start doing the trolls. And then we'll try and get the trolls done maybe slightly faster, because they are simpler miniatures. Like, I'll try and find one that's like actually, yeah, like they are. Like, these guys are just simpler miniatures. They don't have as much stuff on them, so it'll be much easier to do. Oh, there we go. You can see, which should be fun. Yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it, and like and subscribe.